Hello and welcome everybody to Heroes CCL presented by Roll20. I am Doa. With me are Grubby and Bahamut, and today's the day. Finally, we've been waiting so long. It's a draft day. We get to see which players end up on which teams. We get to kick off this league, do something a bit unprecedented in esports, and it's going to be a ton of fun. Grubby, what's your hype level at right now?
Yeah, just from the moment, Doa, that I woke up, I've been seeing tweets, I've been seeing stream titles, everyone saying draft show tonight, draft show today. And it started yesterday already. Everyone is looking forward to this. The tension is rising. And I'm so curious to see which of the players are going to be playing in the HeroesCCL.
Well, I know, Grubby, you're more of a calm, subdued type of person. I like that about you, which is why I wanted to save Bahamut for last, because I know, with that, the hype level will be a bit out of control. Bahamut, how do you feel today after all the buildup? Here we are.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to see who gets drafted. I have been itching to find out who will not be a coward and who's going to actually draft John Knight. And I also just want to say, it's blowing me away about how many mock drafts that we have in the community coming out as well. It's insane. I can't keep up with how many mock drafts are just constantly being put out in Twitter and in Reddit.
Yeah, there's been a lot of speculation. We're going to find out what the actual draft is going to shake down to in a moment, but let's take a look at how the prize pool is going to come together for the upcoming season of CCL. Basically, the prize pool consists of 60% of any donations contributed during all CCL broadcasts, and then the remaining 40% goes towards production staff costs, league expenses, keeping this thing running for you guys. That's important too, but it's a good breakdown. It's exciting stuff. This is grassroots esports at its finest. We're rebuilding the scene, and it's gonna be pretty awesome. And speaking of all that, let's take a look at our list of players. There's a billion of them, so we'll give you a close overview of all the players on the screen in alphabetical order. What names jump out at you right here, Grubby?
Oh, I recognize DNA Galaxy. He was on Heroes Wednesday with me. He told me that Wrath of the Angiris on Imperius is good, which, thank you very much, dude. I have a bunch of losses thanks to you.
Oh, the old Grubby switcheroo. All right, Bahamut, page 2. Who's jumping out?
It's got to be the community member, Hebi. I love seeing them hoot on healers. They're an absolute insane healer main. What about you, Doa?
I'm excited about some of the Korean players on there. Obviously, you know me, Kyoto and Hyde on the list there. That's going to be fun to see if they're picked up because, you got the ping to worry about, but they're so good. Meanwhile, on page number 3, a lot more names. There's way more to talk about than we can right now, obviously.
No, let's go through all of them. Let's roll it back. I want I want the background story on everybody. No, we got time for that later,
we'll
right?
Go back. We'll start at letter A again. Well, Hasuab's on this screen, of course, on TL's right now, but also, eligible in the draft too. So just lots of big names. Grubby, you and I especially, as far as Hasuabs go, we remember him way back from StarCraft 2, and you remember him from even farther back than that, because he was a Warcraft 3 player too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. I think he was 3 years old the first time I played against him in Warcraft 3. We go way back. No, I think he was 14.
Yeah,
he was 14. But yeah, it definitely recalls a lot of old memories. Like when you and I were casting StarCraft 2 together in 2012. Hasuabs was playing back then as well. So a lot of history here as well. He's just one of the many players, but he's definitely one to look out for.
That's right. So Hasuabs, of course, is one of the many players that we're going to see chosen by our 8 organizations. And we asked a few of those players what it means to them to be drafted to play in CCL. And here's what they said. Let's take a look at it.
Getting drafted for CCL would be the culmination of all the hard work I put into Heroes of the Storm. All the late nights of draft prep, all the Storm League to learn new heroes, all the extra hours of VOD review, all the days of double scrim blocks.
Personally, it would mean to be able to compete again in what has been my passion for so long. So I'm really looking forward to that draft on the 17th of October.
To play in CCL would be like a dream come true. Some of the best moments from my life were from playing in HGC Open Division back in 2018.
Being drafted to CCL will mean that I am worthy of being part of a new generation of a competitive league, which feels like an honor and a real privilege for me.
If I am drafted for CCL, I would be more than just a player for an organization. Drafting me would mean drafting a social media specialist. It would mean drafting a content creator.
If I'm drafted for CCL, I will continue to try and improve and work on myself, as well as building synergy with my teammates, whoever they may be.
If I'm drafted for CCL, I will always be a team player. I will not be toxic for any reason, and I will do everything in my power to help the Heroes of the Storm community grow and succeed.
If I am drafted in CCL, I will do my best to keep pushing myself forward and perfect my gameplay. I think I have a great potential.
If I'm drafted for CCL, I will accept the new challenge that I get, and I will try to share my experience with my teammates, and I hope it makes a difference to become as successful as possible.
If I'm drafted for CCL, I will make sure to change these forgotten letters to CCL and also recolor my hair to match the orc.
Wow, it really does like strike you, hearing some of those players talk about the journeys that they've been through over the course of Heroes of the Storm Esports. Like it kind of does feel like a new beginning. And Bahamut, Grubby, I want to get your impressions really quick first with this because I'm kind of coming back into this after being away for a while. But you guys have kind of been carrying the torch for this game and all that. Like, what does it mean to you two personally? We'll start with you, Bahamut, to see CCL come up like this.
Oh, honest to God, the video that we just watched, it gets me in the heart every single time. It blows me away the scale at which Heroes of the Storm Grassroots is expanding to, and that's the most exciting thing for me.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one then that felt a little emotional seeing all that. And this is just the stories that we've seen. There's so much more behind it. The players that are trying to keep a tough exterior, but inside they're hoping and they're planning for this.
That makes sense. So we are just about ready to get started with the actual draft itself to find out who the very first player drafted is going to be. Like that's a big deal, going into the season. There's a little bit of weight on your shoulders if you end up being, the number one draft pick. So whoever's getting picked, it's going to be it's going to be cool, a little bit of weight on that shoulders too. But without any further ado, let's bring in Sid Kitten from Chili Mountain Gaming to make that first selection. Are you ready? Has the decision been made?
Yes, it has been made.
All right, who's it going to be?
So Chili Mountain picks Fury as our first round pick.
Wow. Okay, so Fury, the first choice here. So what was the logic in going with Fury for the number one pick overall in the draft and number one for your team too?
So at Chili Mountain, we believe that tanks are the backbone of the team. He's been playing for over 5 years professionally. So we know that he's shown to be a great leader and we'll be happy to have him on our team.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions from Bahamut or Grubby there?
Well, I think it's a great choice. He's been all over the world, in Asia, US, and so on. So he has a lot of experience. I know his heart is in the right place. Got a pleasure to meet him often. So good luck with him. Excellent choice. Bahamut?
I have one quick question. Are you going to empower the Uther main tank for Fury?
We'll do what we can.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, Sid Kitten. I'm sure we will see you soon with more picks. But until then, good luck with the planning.
Thanks.
All right. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The very first pick of the draft in CCL goes to Fury, a tank. Just looking at that, again, I'd love to ask you guys, there's a lot of connections, obviously, that these players have to other players in the league, other team owners, and things like that. What sort of implications does the pick of Fury suggest to you guys that we might see later from Chili Mountain? Let's theorycraft a bit here.
I think I would expect there to be a high priority onto Prismaticism. If I'm not mistaken, they've played a lot in the post-HGC era together, and they have a lot of synergy within their compositions and their drafts already.
Okay.
It'd be so funny if there was one team that was specifically looking to break up partnerships between other players. We'll take
the anti-draft.
Yeah, we may not be the strongest, but we're going to band pick really well in the draft phase. We're just going to take away these, and we really want to create a new world. It could be a philosophy that one of these teams has.
Makes sense. I actually had a chance to talk to Chillrog over the course of the week about their draft plans, and when he spoke about Fury specifically, he said one of the things that stood out to him about that player was that it's the shot calling, of course, that you kind of need in the main tank, but it's also the knowledge in the draft as well, being able to be adaptable to the other team, going into it with a solid plan, but knowing when to shift that plan. So it seems like just a lot of leadership is being picked up right there by Chili Mountain with the Fury pickup.
I really want to note what they said as well. The big thing is, we believe that the tank is the backbone of a team, and I wonder if that's going to be something that a lot of these organizations can, if they consider in this draft. But Doa, are we ready for another pick?
Oh, I'm more than ready. We're gonna get our second team representative in here as soon as possible, and I believe next up it's gonna be Fan from Sidestep Kings, and he'll be making the second choice overall. Again, a prestigious position to be in. So, Fan, how you doing? Are you ready to make your pick?
Yeah, what's up, guys? I am ready.
All right, who's it gonna be? Number 2 in the draft overall goes to.
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, congratulations to Fury for the number 1 pick of the draft. By the way, he's a great tank, great player. For me, it was a really, really close call. I too thought the tank role was very choked, and I think it was a very close call for myself between Fury, Cattle, Justine, and Lauber. I think all of them are like incredibly good tanks, and they're all very mechanically skilled and can do exactly what a tank needs to do. But in the end, I'm gonna go with Cattle, a former teammate of mine. Yep, going with Cattle.
All right. So what's just the basic logic of picking Cattle up for the number 1 pick on your team?
So my logic for picking up Cattle, like I said, there was 4 tank players I really had my eye on. I think they're all very good mechanically, and they all have HGC/competitive experience. I think the most important thing about Cattle is that I was on a team with him for a very long time, so I know very well how he thinks, how he plays, and being someone that is going to be drafting the rest of the players that he plays with, I thought it was important that I get a tank that not only knew how to kind of play the game well, but a tank that I know could kind of synergize with the rest of the team that I plan on picking. So some synergy aspects were taken there, and also I think Cattle is like a very responsible guy. He kind of woke up June and sometimes me for years while we're playing together. So I also like that side of him that has like the sense of responsibility.
All right, that's cool. You gotta get a player that keeps everybody else in line. That's respectable. But all right, so congratulations on your first pick of the draft here. We'll see you again soon for another pick down the line. And yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, well there you go, ladies and gents. It is Cattle, the selection number 2 in the draft overall, going to Sidestep Kings. Any is that a surprise? Is that a surprise at all, or is that pretty much what you expected?
Tank wise, this makes sense. I think Fan put that perfectly. It's just Cattle's a really responsible dude. I've actually worked with them in the casting environment in the past as well, and I can say exactly that. They're responsible. They're on time. They know how to communicate. They know how to be organized. So it makes sense to me. And there's already that natural synergy between the org owner and a player who's probably going to be their shot caller. So I don't expect there to be many issues between the two. If anything, they're going to be able to synergize and build a lot of great things together, especially their team. Because if I heard that correctly, they're helping, like Cattle's now going to be helping build the team. Did we just hear that?
Yeah, it sounded like he said that. That doesn't surprise me too much. If you pick a player that you think is going to be a leader on the team, Grubby, it makes sense that they're going to be kind of part of the draft strategy as it kind of shifts and molds throughout the day, huh?
It does make sense, and it's also kind of a funny dynamic that they're having now, because he said that Kato is a responsible person, and then he said Cattle was responsible for kicking into action him and June, which would indicate that they are not as responsible. And now Fan is like, who's in charge now? But the tables have turned, so he's now above Cattle in the decision making, but it doesn't mean that he can't lean on what he clearly respects as a personality and as a knowledge of the game in Cattle.
Yeah, you got to get a player that like kicks the other players into gear once in a while. And when I talked to Fan earlier this week, Cattle did come up, of course, as a possible number 1 pick for them. And he said a lot of the same things he told us, right? Where it's like he sees him as this shot caller, he sees him as this leader, and I think it's a really smart choice. When you're making that first draft pick, to go with someone who's going to be, maybe more of the veteran, more of the leader than necessarily the flashy, DPS player or something like that too. It makes sense that you want to build that backbone first before you attach the rest of the limbs. If we're using a skeleton
Yeah,
analogy, I guess. I don't know.
That's how humans are built.
I mean, I will
Right.
say this. You're talking about all that, but I got to say this. You need a tank to play Shogal. Just gonna leave that out there.
Hey, I am 100% on board with that, man. The more Cho'Gall, the merrier. Yeah, but we're about to get ready for our third pick in the draft right now. It's going to be Goon from HeroesHearth Esports, I believe. And Goon, are you with us? There you are. How's it going?
What's up? Look at all these beautiful people in this call. Wow, I never
just
thought
got
I'd
more
be.
beautiful. Thanks for joining us.
At least 25% more. It's
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like
so
to hear.
third pick overall in the draft. This is the first pick for your team. Who's it going to be?
So yeah, for the first pick for our team, we're gonna go with with Pit Kid, the artist formerly known as Justine.
Oh, okay.
It's good. Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
exciting stuff. So I got to ask, what's the basic mentality? I know you and I talked about this a bit earlier this week, but I want you to say it for yourself. What's the plan with Pit Kid here?
Right. So with Pit Kid, he brings a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge about the game, creativity. But more importantly, he has a lot of leadership experience that I really do appreciate and I do value, and that experience passing on to everybody else on the team, kind of developing a culture of excellence and thinking outside the box when it comes to this game and with life.
Yeah, you mentioned too when we were chatting his ability sort of to pair unique hero synergies specifically, and do you feel like now that you locked him in, you've got that edge over a lot of the other orgs?
A lot of the orgs are sleeping. That's all I'm going to say. They think they're woke. All right, let's go. Yeah.
All right. I like it. All right. Well, Goon, we'll be back with you soon for your second pick. In the meantime, happy drafting and good luck.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. The first shots of the draft being fired by Goon at HeroesHearth Esports. But a pretty exciting pick. The more I hear about Pit Kid, formerly known as Justing, the more excited I get, because you need those players that have that combination of intelligence, but also really creative, dynamic thinking too, right?
Mm-hmm. I wonder personally, just a little bit, what makes some of these tank players stand out over the others for a lot of these orgs? Because that was the one question. Like, we all know, we know Fear, we know Cattle, we know Justing. We have this information already, and we've seen this. But like, I'm curious, like, why not any Red Robot? Why are we not seeing any of those kind of community-driven ones? Is it because of the fact that they have this experience, or is it because of the fact that they showcased and maybe they interviewed? Because I actually caught Michael Udall was saying in a YouTube video this past week, or at least on Twitter, they interviewed over 30 people in preparation for this draft. Like, that's wild to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think what you're saying makes sense, Bahamut. There are other tanks as well. There are other players as well that have been building up experience. And what's also hard is to gauge everyone's potential. Right? Because we've only seen safe picks so far. So let's see if our fourth team here, Crowd Control, with their next pick, is going to go with the safe or maybe delve into more unknown territory.
Well, we'll find out. I believe we've got Turk himself with Crowd Control on the call with us. How you doing? Are you psyched about your first pick? Are you ready to go?
Absolutely. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Good. We're excited to hear who you've got in mind. So who's it going to be? Who's the first pick for your team?
I'm going to be locking in Lauber at this time.
Ooh.
GG Lauber, gimme.
All right, Lauber, another tank player, I believe, and a tank player from EU, if I recall correctly. Is that right?
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
All right. So now we get into the question of ping. Clearly not an issue for you. He's your first pick, but how do you think it's going to be? Having that dynamic of presumably, EU players, NA players, like bringing that together. How are you planning on tackling that?
Well, I thought ping was going to be a bigger issue than it actually is. I think the macro level knowledge and I feel like EU plays the game better than us. So I feel like the ping advantage kind of just disappears a little bit more. I originally gave ping too much credit as well, but I think after watching too many in-houses for my own well-being, I feel as though ping doesn't actually matter all that much. I think macro plays and what Lauber is going to bring to the table. I'm just psyched.
And what does Lauber bring to the table for your team?
Good tank, good shot caller, lead the team. Victory, preferably. Loss will mean that out as well.
I got a question for you, Turk, real quick. During CCL regulation season, are you going to allow Lauber to play with one hand and or feet?
You know, I let him choose. I watched him stream with one hand and climb all the way out of plat. So I trust the man. I trust the man. Whatever he wants to do. If he wants to do backflips or whatever he wants to do, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I expect backflips now later in the day, but we're going to let you go for now as you get ready for your next pick in the draft. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.
All right, there you go. Turk from Crowd Control with his first pick of the draft. It's going to be Lauber. Is any of this surprising to you so far? It seems like a lot of the names, a lot of the tanks specifically that we expected to go early. Pretty much everything going according to plan. Yeah,
pretty much.
Okay.
I think the real decisions start to get made now from the 5th pick. Obviously, the random drafting order has determined who gets to pick up these. Now let's see if we can create great teams from the 5th to the 8th and who their priorities are going to be. Are we still going to go on the tank train? Is what I'm really curious about. Did everyone analyze that correctly? Is someone quickly scratching out what they have thus far and be like, oh, we didn't have a tank in mind yet. Let's quickly get one too before they're all gone. Or is everything going according to plan?
I suppose that's the tricky part, right? What do you think, Bahamut?
I'm trying to think here. Like, it is, you can grab a tank player. I absolutely agree with what they're doing right now. But I think there's something to be said. Like, why not snatch an insanely strong healer or any other role? Like, those are wide open and they're just as viable in my eyes as a main tank shot caller. But hey, I'm not one of the orgs.
All right. Well, we have Joy on with us from our 5th organization to make the pick. It is going to be Granite Gaming. How are you doing?
Hi. Yeah. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Cool. Are you ready to make your decision? Or you've probably already made it, but are you ready to announce?
I already made it.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Great if I'm going to make it now.
What a relief. Yeah. So
Wait,
who's it going to be? Yeah. Who's the first pick for Granite Gaming here in CCL?
All right. Granite Gaming will first pick Nick.
Nick. Ooh. Okay. All right. So I got to ask, of course, we always do, what's the rationale behind the pick of Nick?
All right. All right.
That rhymed, coincidentally.
Yeah, definitely wasn't meant like that.
No.
We decided to first pick Nick because he is he's just a mechanically really skilled player, but also somebody that has a very diverse hero pool and is on top very vocal. So that is what we are looking for at Granite. So,
okay. Yeah. Interesting. So the diverse hero pool, does that mean you're kind of thinking that the meta may shift over the course of the season, or just within the current meta, you expect this to give you a lot of different composition options that maybe other orgs don't have access to?
I think that is, like, I know that Nick is somebody that can also draft quite well, and has very fast adaptation to that. So I think that he will just come in really, really really good. I think he's going to pop off.
I think so too. He's a great player. Watch him a lot on stream.
All right, cool. Thank you, Joy. There's the first pick for Granite Gaming. We'll be back with you soon for your next pick in the draft. Until then, good luck with the theory crafting.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it, folks. The 5th pick has been made. That means we only have 3 more before we get done with our first cycle of the draft. Obviously, each one of these teams are going to draft 6 players overall. You need to start 5, and then it's good to have that extra player, and we'll get in down the line to what that 6th player might mean. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing some of the 6 picks for now. But again, so Nick, getting picked here, Grubby, you mentioned that you watch him a lot on stream. Like, what stands out to you about Nick the most?
Yeah, he's just a really good ranged DPS player, and I'm not, so everything stands out.
Can I chime in from exhibition weekends, because Nick had 2 amazing Kerrigan plays where they it was a Towers of Doom moment where they literally blinked into the backline Ana, shot the Ultralisk into the Ana for the follow-up stun, landed the combo, and just one-shot this Ana insanely well. And then I want to note that later on in another matchup, they picked Kerrigan again on Infernal Shrines going up against a Sergeant Hammer, and Vespertine, who's also known as Liam. They were playing together. Liam jumped over the wall as Urel, and then that allowed Nick to get the vision they needed so they could jump over and basically make that one shot happen again. Like, I know I'm just talking about one hero, and we were just talking about how diverse their hero pool is, but even just that one hero, plays like that are the reason why I'm not surprised Nick is first picked right now. But I wonder, does Granite Gaming consider Vesper for that synergy and also just an overall strong offlaner in their second round? That's the thing that I've been kind of thinking about now.
The first non-tank pick we forgot in the first round as well, too. That's significant as well. We are going to bring in our next representative, though. This one is going to be Party Foul from Simplicity Gaming. Party Foul, can you hear us?
I can.
All right, awesome. Are you ready to announce your decision for the first pick for your org?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, who's it going to be?
It's going to be Cure.
Cure, okay. Cure, Bahamut with the big reaction there. So we'll let him react in a moment, but give us your rationale for having Cure be your first choice.
I mean, Cure, just overall, in my opinion, one of the strongest offlaners in this game right now. I very much like watching his streams. I think he gives great content, great analysis of the games, but, great guy overall. He's won Heroes of the Dorm, great player in a HGC NA. So I'm excited to have him. And at 6th pick, I'm really, really happy that we were able to get him.
Oh, okay. You thought he was going to go earlier than this pick, huh?
Oh, I did. I thought he would be top 1 at least,
at least.
But 1 through 5, yeah, I thought he was going to go first pick, my opinion. But, at 6, I am very happy.
Oh, okay. So do you feel like the other orgs have been underestimating Cure then?
Maybe. They probably all have their own reasons for who they're picking. I would have definitely picked him up in number 1 if I had the chance. So I'm very happy.
All right, cool stuff. Well, thanks for stopping by, Party Foul. We'll be back with you soon for your second pick in the draft. Until then, good luck with the planning.
Thank you.
All right, well, there it is. Cure goes. So, Grubby, what reaction there? I want to hear Bahamut's reaction as well, but you started talking there, so let's go to you first.
Yeah, I had a chance to watch Cure in action. I believe it was at the Gold Club World Championship in China, in Beijing. He's a very calm player, competent, calm, and I'm not saying he has no emotions, but unemotional when he plays. At least from what I've seen, he has emotions, but just really calm, and that's a great steadying influence for any team.
I think, Grubby, you nailed it right there. Exactly. It's not that they're emotionless. It's just that they're able to keep their emotions at a level in a competitive environment and not tilt. That is the hardest thing in some of these moments. Like if you get shut down in the solo lane, but the rest of your team is winning, not having that kind of like internal tilt and just being like, my deaths are allowing us to win. It's little things like that make big differences. And I agree with you. Cure is a level-headed person. They have a wide range of heroes, and they also just have great shot calling or just information they can provide from just watching the minimap as that solo player. I love this. I love the picks that we have so far.
And another non-tank pick, actually, as we get done with the trail end of the first round. Interesting enough. But let's move on. We have none other than Mike Udall himself from 30K Gaming. He's already got the merch going on. How you doing today, man?
So good. I'm really hyped up for the draft. We've got a pretty spicy pick coming for you guys. Should I say it right now?
Yeah, let's hear it. What's the pick?
All right. With the 7th pick of the CCL draft, 30K uses their first round to select the man, the myth, the legend, the most experienced players out of everyone in the pool, Hasawabs.
Wow. Liquid Hasawabs himself, probably one of the most veteran gamers in the draft in general, because this guy's not just a Heroes of the Storm player. He's got professional esports experience stretching back multiple games.
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of player interviews, and he was, I would say, probably the player interview I was impressed with the most. We talked for like an hour and a half, and he just taught me how to be a professional video game player. And like he really is so knowledgeable, and I'm really excited for the leadership and captain role that he's going to fill for our team. Really just bringing a lot of experience. He's someone I've always looked up to. I watched him playing StarCraft, and I'm really excited to have him play for our organization. Hasawabs, I'm sure you're seeing this. We are amped up to have you for 30K. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. The Kael'thas picture in the background, though, makes me wonder who you're going to force him to play, though,
I'll teach him don't worry.
Just curious. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll let you go. We'll be back with you soon to hear your second pick. Until then, good luck with the planning.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, there you have it. Hasuab's a player that a lot of us were very curious about. Bahamut, what do you think?
It makes sense. If Hazoabs didn't go in the first round, I would have been a little shocked. To be fair here, because he's just as Michael said, like he's one of the most experienced players, even outside of Heroes of the Storm. They have so much competitive experience that really helps a team beyond just playing in the game. You can keep level heads. You can know how to interact with other players and teammates. This is a great pickup for 30K, and it's a strong one indeed.
Yeah,
Right,
I think
so-
Haslop's hand of influence is a large part of why Team Liquid was so competitive with the other two major European powerhouses, Dignitas and Fnatic.
Yeah.
He brought a lot of cool strategical flair to the team, and he was able to fill those roles as well and build a lovely squad together with them. And he's one of the most steady players. He was in one team for like 15 years. I mean, can you find him more loyal in esports?
Yeah, I mean, you said you played against him the first time in Warcraft 3 when he was like in his early teens or something like that. So he's been a gamer for a long time at a high level.
Yeah.
Very cool to see. All right. Well, we've got a little bit of time yet before we get in for our final pick in the first round, it looks like. So let's talk a little bit more about players, like Hasuabs, another player from EU. Clearly it doesn't seem like, due to the multiple EU players picked up in the very first round that anyone's really concerned about the ping at all. Like, I mean, it's always been something where, I've played a lot from like Korea to NA to Korea. That's a little bit more intense than NA to EU, perhaps. But I am surprised that it's less of an issue for these org owners than it has been seemingly so far.
I think it's the in-houses. The in-houses gave so much information to these organizations and showcased the one thing that everyone was the most not nervous about, but hesitant about, which is ping. And looks like the in-houses have showcased that's not something that's even in question.
That is apparently the case. Well, we have our next, the last actually chooser for the very first round. It's Steve from Oxygen. So you're in an interesting position because you're all the way at the end of the very first round. You've seen the other picks that have been made so far, but it's your turn now. Who is the first pick for Oxygen Esports going to be in the draft?
So for the last person in the first round, we've decided that it's going to be Prismaticism. So congratulations,
okay.
Priz. And then I'm not sure if you guys want to ask questions about that pick right now, or if we're just going to go right into the number 9. I know that everyone's kind of on edge.
Oh, yeah. We're going to wait for a moment for the number 9 pick. So let's talk to you about Prismaticism for the moment. What's the logic behind picking him up?
So with the unique position that we're in with the double pick, we really wanted to build a strong core. And with the XHGC experience and just with the strong hero pool that Prismat brings, we're really excited to have him into the team because we feel like we can really build a strong team around him.
Okay, interesting. And that seems to be kind of like the course that a lot of organizations have taken is trying to find that kind of more veteran backbone player, that kind of thing. We've heard other orgs say that their first pick is going to help them with the rest of their draft. You're planning on getting Prismaticism involved that way too?
So we have a master plan. It's worked out well so far. I mean, we'll gladly take his input, but we're also really excited that our plan is working out.
All right. Interesting. So we're curious to hear what the next part of that plan is, but we're going to get back to you in just a moment with that. So we will let you go for the moment, but we'll be back for the next pick in just a few. Until then, happy little extra planning for you.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
All right, so there it is. The final pick of the first round of the draft goes to Prismaticism. Again, I saw this. I wouldn't say it was a huge reaction from Bahamut, but it was a notable reaction. So why don't you explain that?
They said it right. It's a lot of great experiences, but the other thing to note too is just their exhibition weekend. They really showcase their prowess and mechanical skills. If you missed the games that Prismaticism played in, I highly recommend you go back and watch those because it makes sense why they're one of the top picks for the first round. And if I was an org, I would 100% agree with that first pick as well.
All right, another ranged DPS. Let's take a look at the board so far, draft board, to see who's been picked up in the first 8 choices. As you can see, Chili Mountain went with Fury. Then it was Cattle going over to Sidestep Kings. Wildheart picking up Pit Kid. And then it was GG Lauber going to Crowd Control. Nick being the choice for Granite Gaming. Cure for Simplicity. Hasuabs getting picked up by 30K. And then finally, as we just saw, Prismaticism chosen by Oxygen Esports. And they will be, again, our very next pick because we are going in that snake draft fashion. They are going to get picks 8 and 9. I believe until then, we are going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will begin the first round. No, we're not. Actually, okay, so no breaks. We're charging right ahead then. Let's, so I guess in just a moment, we'll see Steve come back and give us their second pick for Oxygen Esports. Steve should be with us in just a moment to make that choice. And I'm curious too, because it's a unique position being able to pick 2 players in a row, isn't it, Steve? You're back with us. And so what's the next pick going to be for Oxygen?
So for our number 9 pick, we're very excited to announce that Nasmus is going to be joining the team.
Oh, okay. Nasmus. All right. So what's the plan now? Why this duo in particular? Was there a relation between Prismaticism and Nasmus being picked in order, or was it just kind of like 2 choices that you kind of found yourselves the opportunity to make?
So one of the things that we were really looking at was basically the off lane is kind of a choked off role. Nasmus brings a lot of experience to the off lane, and also is probably one of the nicest guys that I've actually had the pleasure of interviewing. So we feel like those 2 guys together is going to be a really strong core to build this team around.
All right, the solo lane and the ranged DPS. Oh, Grubby, go ahead.
Do nice guys win the solo lane? Or do you have to be evil?
Well, I feel like when you're calling for your entire team to come down and help you, being nice about it is probably the best way to go, especially when you're kind of panicking.
So it's a good point. The frantic pinging, of course. Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Why these 2 roles, solo and range?
Well, we're kind of, again, in the unique position where we felt like a lot of the tanks were going to go before our picks. So we kind of have more of a free reign to pick up maybe lesser known talent in the tank role. So we really wanted to build that strong range and offlane role. Going into the rest of the draft, we wanted to have that secure.
All right. Well, I'm excited to see what the next picks are going to be. For now, we'll let you go, and we'll be back with you soon to find out what pick number 3 is going to be for Oxygen.
Cool. Cheers, guys.
All right. That was, again, Steve from Oxygen Esports. The first pick of the second round of the draft goes to Nasmus. So interesting. We see so much priority being put on tanks early on in the draft for like the first 4 or 5 picks or so. And then it really got diverse from there. A lot of DPS, some solo laners being chosen. Do you feel like there's a big difference between the tanks we saw picked and then suddenly no more? Do you feel there is that drop off in terms of tank skill in the draft pool?
I don't.
Yeah.
Grubby, go ahead. No, you go ahead, Grubby, because I'm still trying to think about this.
Yeah, it's I get what I'm most surprised about Doa is that everyone seems to have kind of agreed on this, and I wonder whether that was explicitly so or implicitly. Do people just take a look at the list and they say, okay, these 4 are the highest priority tanks? It's not that the rest aren't good, but they're just a little bit less proven, let's say, and then they're more interchangeable, and we've got these other standout positions. Another thing that's really interesting is that there's a lot of emphasis being placed on people's personality, demeanor, calmness. We have all seen the other end of the stick when we're playing Storm League with random allies. We've seen that person that does vent, that does complain and blame. And you never want to get stuck with that because we got 3 months of competition coming up. And, that's why you want to have a nice atmosphere in the team. And they value that a lot.
Okay. We've just got some news just breaking right now as far as the draft goes. So just like any other draft, teams are allowed to exchange picks and do things like that. And we have our first pick trade, actually. Oh. So 30K has decided to send their 10 and 26 picks to Chili Mountain in exchange for Chili Mountain's 16 and 17 picks. So in that case, Chili Mountain will be the organization to pick next. So we're going to try to keep track of this as best we can throughout the day for you guys, because there will be some changes happening here and there. I'm hoping that I'm going to be reading those to you correctly. I'm sure they'll correct me on the admin side if I get those wrong. But it looks like instead of 30K next, they're actually willing to delay a little bit, and we're going to have Chili Mountain. Yeah.
Go ahead, Grubby.
I thought they were going to change players after they picked them, not before they picked it, trading the pick order.
Right. I think, well, it's just like any other, if you watch like the NFL draft or something like
I do
that,
not,
teams
so
can
tell
not
me.
only, so it's very common for orgs to be able to trade actual picks even over players as well. So yeah, trading players happens at some point, but you can also trade order as well. There's different strategies behind that. I won't reveal what I've heard from my conversations with the orgs throughout the week, but there's reasons. We'll see it there. So that will kind of become apparent as the day goes on. So, all right. So Sid Kitten is going to be rejoining us in just a moment to make those picks for Chili Mountain. And again, this will be picks number 16 and 17, which is going to be kind of crazy. So Sid Kitten, you're back with us. A bit of a change in the draft order here. So what was, first of all, what was the logic behind making the trade with 30K?
Oh, we really wanted this player. He's a player that is a longtime competitor. He's a drafter, shot caller, someone we really wanted on our team, and we were scared we were going to lose him. So we wanted to make sure we could lock him in.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. So who's it going to be?
So we are picking Make.
Make. Okay. All right. So Make, you mentioned a little bit earlier about the qualities that they bring to the team. Anything more to add to that?
We're just happy to have him. We really wanted Fury to have somebody who could be in there making shots with him and leading the team, and we think he'll be a really good addition.
All right, very cool. That's so our first big shakeup in the draft order today, and it's going to be Chili Mountain, as you can see. Sid Kitten making that choice. Very, very cool. Any reactions, Bahamut, or anything? Grubbing?
I think it's great to just be able to pair people together. This is a conversation, a question we've been asking a lot of orgs. Do you care about ping at all? Because I believe Make is a European player, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's something we took into consideration, but like I said, he's just a really good player that we think his skill will make up for that.
Cool. Yeah, that was. I think that's really the only thing that I would be concerned of, and it doesn't seem like it's a concern for any of Chili Mountain.
All right. Very cool. Well, thanks for stopping by, Sid Kitten. Not like you really had much of a choice. It was your turn to make the pick anyway, but we appreciate it nonetheless. Exciting pick. Exciting to see the draft get shaken up, and we will see you again down the line for the next one.
Thank you, guys.
All right. So there you have it. Our first shakeup, and like you said, it's gonna get complicated today, guys, with the picks being moved around and all that kind of stuff. It's mostly for me, but I will do my best to try to explain what's going on as accurately as possible. All you need to know, though, is that Chili Mountain jumped up in the pick order a little bit to get that one in exchange for a pick from 30K down the line.
So there was a little update, just to clarify for anyone that is wondering, because originally the CCL had only 2 trades available, and it was basically seasonal trades that you could basically, you do this whole draft, and it's kind of Grubby, I think, was thinking, you do the whole draft, you say, all right, I got this, but like, man, they have that one player that I kind of want instead. Those are the regulation season drafts, and those were the 2 that are there. What happened is a lot of the orgs came out and said, hey, we would love to do some sort of draft trade for the trade show, much like in real sports. And so they went through in real sports, physical sports, I guess.
Traditional sports.
There you go. Whatever you want to call them. But Brasky, one of the org liaisons, actually wrote up an entire thing for a waiver wire as well, just to explain how this works. And so you have 2 trades during the actual draft show, and then starting, I think, as early as tomorrow, you can actually do your player transactions from roster to roster. So here, this is kind of the live shakeup, as you're saying, and then I believe starting tomorrow until December 11th, you're allowed to do player transactions. And the one note, if you don't use your transactions today, they don't bleed into the regulation season, so you can't have 4 for the regulation. If you don't use them during the draft show, they're moot, they're gone. But if anyone was wondering how that works, that's a little bit more of the defined information for those trades.
Well explained. Well, we're going to go back with Simplicity for their next pick. It's going to be, once again, Party Foul joining us for that one as we move on with the draft. So, Party Foul, you ready to make the next choice?
Oh, I am ready.
All right, who's it going to be?
It's going to be Lutano.
Ooh. Lutano. Okay. All right. Why the Lutano pick?
Very good range DPS. He was actually one of our top 2 picks as well. So getting him, this early as well, I'm very happy about. Thought he would have been taken possibly earlier also. So I'm really happy to get him. And fun fact, he actually played for our League of Legends team at Simplicity also for a little while. So great to have him back in the org.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So very familiar with, kind of how he operates in the team environment. Very important when you're making those draft choices. Does he have any particular synergy with Cure that you think as well? Do you feel like those two work very well together specifically, or is it just kind of two good players you're looking at?
I think they'll work very well together. Both of them have very good shot calling abilities, and having both of them be able to help the team out, get the team moving around the map, I think will be very good. So they'll be able to feed off of each other very well.
All right, cool. Thank you, Party Foul, for your choice here, and we'll be back with you for the next one soon.
Thank you.
Well, Doa, I see that Lutano, according to Heroes' profile, is particularly with a high win rate and high gameplay count on Tracer and Genji.
Yep.
Always two useful heroes to have in your repertoire. You may be quite familiar with those heroes as well from many dimensions.
Those ones I'm familiar with. Yeah. It's basically all the Overwatch heroes in Cho'Gall that, pretty much familiar with.
I will. It's Grubby's noting their Tracer play, and it's actually something that, if I'm not mistaken, was banned out because it was played so well during the exhibition matches. And I've casted Lutano before exhibition matches, and the Tracer is something to fear. If I'm not mistaken, Cure and Lutano have played in grassroots league stuff and tournaments together. And I want to say, if I remember correctly, they've had some explosive games together in the past. So this is a great pickup and a great duo for simplicity. And just a small note, having someone who was previously already within the org, knows how things operate, knows who to communicate to, that's a big win as well, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a huge deal. Being able to have like much more deeper knowledge of how that player, behaves essentially in a team environment too. Because, we talked a little bit earlier about how a lot of the orgs have been prioritizing personalities in a lot of their early picks too. Forming not just that backbone of mechanical skill in the game or strategic skill, but also forming that backbone of mentality, right, for the team, positivity, keeping people on track. That's going to be equally, if not more important as things go on.
I agree 100%. Yeah,
it's so important, especially when you're losing. That's where you see how the real team spirits are functioning together. Everyone can get along while you're winning, but when you're losing, people that can pick you up, they're worth gold.
Absolutely. Well, we are going to have Joy with us from Granite Gaming once again for their next selection in the draft. Joy, are you there? There you are. All right.
Yeah, Here I am.
Are you ready to make your next choice here in the draft?
I am.
Who's it going to be?
We have decided to go for Svamkrota.
Ooh,
Svamkrota. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. And what's the rationale behind that?
The rationale behind that is very simple. Who would not pick a man that calls himself Fungus Cave?
Is that what that means? I had no idea.
Yes, that is what it means. Or Shroom Cave or Mushroom Cave.
Does that have any relation to their, play style or, in-game comms? I don't know.
No.
Like, what am I supposed to read into this with it?
What are you supposed to read into it? Well, we've picked up a Swedish player. We are like an organization from Sweden. So maybe you can find the link there.
I agree. Okay, yeah.
I don't get it.
Wait, Swedish org, Swedish player. It's all coming together now. All right. Thank you, Joy, for the pick. We'll be back with Granite Gaming soon for your next one. And until then, good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Granite Gaming, picking a player whose name I'm frankly afraid to try to pronounce.
It's easy. Yeah, it's easy.
A funny story was from Grota. I've been watching a stream recently, and Deathwing is my worst win rate hero, and he was playing it. So I was like, "Oh, cool! Could you show me the build?" And he showed the build, and I think I remembered wrong. So I start playing the build like a freaking lackey. I don't even think like a male model. Just do what you're told. So I pick these talents. Most of them are good, but I got the level 4 wrong, and there's 0 synergy, and it adds 40 damage to the whole build. It's just the whole build's broken without the Q at level 4. I've been playing it on stream, and then Swamp came to my stream and he said, I met someone on an NA ladder. He had your build.
You're out there ruining Deathwing builds now.
That's not the build I told you. You ruined it. So you're fooling poor noobs.
Well, I'm glad you've been able to set the record straight now. At least that's comforting. Then now people's Deathwing won't be as messed up at their 4 talent as they would have been in the past. Sweden though, just talking about esports in general, Sweden has been a nation that's had a lot of strong esports players over the years in multiple games. So makes sense that they want to maybe keep it close to home for CCL. All right, so our next pick will be incoming shortly. We're going to have Turk from Crowd Control back on the line with us. I believe he's back with us right now. Turk, are you ready to make the next choice for your team?
Yes, I am. Hi, guys. We're going to be picking Rutzo.
Rutzo, okay. Why is that?
Well, he draws out a Zarya ban, honestly. That's the only reason I want him. Make sure Zarya is banned by the enemy team permanently. I just don't want to see the hero. No, Rutzo's a really talented player. I've watched him play a lot of in-houses. He's impressed me many times. Lauber also vouches for him, so if he sucks, it's on Lauber.
Lauber was part of this choice, huh?
That's right, of course. Yeah, I'm excited. Rutzo.
All right, Rutzo, the next choice for Turk and Crowd Control. Any extra little questions for him, Bahamut Grubby?
Well, once Zarya is banned, the whole draft is open. And what's he going to pick next? And then you can get people ready to ban the second one as well.
No, I don't want to reveal too much of our strats here, right?
Secret
Nice
plans.
try, FBI.
It's our job. It's our job, all right? We'll be back with you for
All
your
right,
next.
goodbye, guys.
Yep, we'll see ya.
Sounds good. Bye.
All right, that was Turk, of course, with
He's
Crowd
sharp.
Control. He's he knows. You know, we're playing a little bit of the journalist role here. You know, we have to push a little bit. We have to try to understand the mindset of the organization. You know, the games in the season later, those are about the players. You know, but I feel like to a certain extent, the draft show is really about the org and the way they're shaping their team as the day goes on. And having a player that legitimately can, you know, force an uncommon ban is huge because essentially you're just straight up taking a ban away from the enemy team.
It's really, really true. Having that, like, there's grassroots teams that I cast all the time, and there's one that has a Samuro ban against them always because they have that player that if they get it, they have like some 80% plus win rate on it, and you just don't take that risk. Like, why take the risk of potentially losing to an 80+% win rate Samuro when you could just ban it out and not deal with it? So I think that is a big pickup for Crowd Control. But I also want to note too is, you know, it's what Turk just said is Lauber vouched for them. And I'm kind of peeking over at some of the channels and I'm looking, and these players are literally drafting with the org. They're giving them their thoughts and their 2 cents. So the org could come in and say, I want these 6 players, and draft number 2 could come through and say like, oh, that one that you're about to pick, like us 2 would synergize better with this one instead. And I'm really excited to see the dynamics that are going to be coming out from our draft show.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. That is one difference we've got between I think esports and traditional sports. The players being much more active in the draft. But we have Goon back with us from Wildheart Esports, returning once again. Are you ready to make your second pick of the draft?
I am. With our second pick, we are going to go with our offlane here, and our offlane player is going to be Zergling.
Zergling, all right. I always look at Bahamut right away whenever a pick is made, and he always like, I see him like right there nodding, you know, being excited about it. But Goon, you know, Bahamut approves. What's a big deal there? Of course. What's your rationale was picking up Zergling here?
Zergling has a lot of experience competing. Had his little taste of HGC in the past, and has been around the community. Solid, strong leader as well. Has a lot of skill, a lot of flexibility, and likes to think outside the box. So,
all right, makes a lot of sense. Cool. Well, thank you for stopping by for your second pick. We will see you again soon for the next one.
Awesome. See you guys then.
All right. So that was Goon with Wildheart Esports. Their next pick, Zergling. Of course, as we just heard, that means only 30K inside Sep Kings yet to choose here in our second round of the draft. Obviously, some of the draft pick trading spots, those being shifted around, are going to affect things a little bit. But we're going to, you know, keep moving right along. Zergling, though, a name that I've heard a lot, not just because I used to be a StarCraft 2 caster, but, you know, because he's a big name around the hero scene. So, Bahamut, anything to add to that pick? You seemed specifically excited. That was a very hard word for some reason.
It's excited. I think Goon said it perfectly, and that's why I was so excited. There's someone who's been in the community. They've tasted that pro scene, and they stuck around and they kept playing the games. I've gotten to cast them in other tournaments, and they have a wide variety of heroes. They communicate super well. They're a great solo laner. I'm blown away by all these picks because I'm excited for every single one, and I'm going to be excited for every single one. But these teams are just honestly, like I'm looking at the list that's being built out right now, and it's just blowing me away. I don't know about you, Grubby, but like I wasn't expecting the draft show to kind of go this way. I was kind of expecting it to be like tanks, healers, DPS, offlane, then some niche role for the 6th, but it's all over the place.
Yeah, it is all over the place. All kinds of roles. In fact, I don't believe we've had a healer yet, though.
No, not one.
As a support main in other games,
that
hurts my soul, but you know.
That is characteristic because during the HCC times, some of the best healers were very high priority. They were spoken of with respect, and it was difficult to find replacements for them. Like you think of people like SMX, right? In the Fnatic days, he was playing phenomenally. Let's see when our first healer is going to come out. Be curious to see.
There are some very, very good ones out there. You know, I keep mentioning Kyoto as a player that, you know, mostly because, you know, I was most familiar with the Korean scene because I lived in Korea when a lot of this was happening. I was at some of the MVP Black matches back in the day. But, you know, another notable healer as well. But let's move on. Now we have Fan back with us from Sidestep Kings. Are you ready to make your next selection?
Yes, I am.
All right. Who will it be?
All right. I think it's time to pick Kyoto. Kyoto will be my pick.
Really? Wow. All right. We just were talking about him.
Wow.
That's your choice. So I believe that's the first healer picked in the draft.
Yes.
We were just talking
Kyoto's offlaner.
Offlaner.
No,
Okay,
you're right.
Excuse me.
Hide,
All right,
hide
never mind.
is what I'm picking up.
Picking the offlaner, picking Kyoto. Obviously one of the big name players from the Korean scene to be in this draft. What's your plan for Kyoto here?
I wanted to get him later in the draft, but I felt like offlane was starting to be a role that was a little too heavily choked for my comfort, so not willing to risk it anymore. As you said, he's a Korean player. He's going to suffer from ping issues. Talked to him a little bit. He says he's going to be at like maybe 60-70% power. But honestly, we're talking about... Yeah, that's really all he needs, in my opinion. We're literally talking about the most winningest player in HOTS history in terms of like prize earnings. This guy was on MVP Black, he was on Gen G, he was on all the teams that were literally the best teams in history in HOTS and HCC. So even with Ping, I think he'll be a really good fit. And yeah, I mean, it just says something when you have literally won more money than anyone else in the history of HOTS, I believe.
Very true. You got that skill, got that experience. Cool pickup for Sidestep Kings. We will be back with you again soon for your next choice.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, fan from Sidestep Kings. So, Kyoto, you know, it's kind of funny. We were just mentioning I made the mistake of calling him a healer. That got Bahamut off track, so I apologize for that offlaner. But if I recall, he was more of a flexible player anyway, so maybe I saw him play that once and it messed with my mind.
Fan kind of debated you too, because he rolled that J in there, who is a healer. So got everyone on the wrong track there on purpose.
I was jokingly going to say, is Sidestep Kings going to build Tempo Storm 2.0? Because they already had Cattle. They could have grabbed June and, you know, anyways. But Kyoto, I agree. It's such a strong player. The whole, you know, 60 to 70% power is I kind of think that's more of a meme than anything else, because Kyoto played in the exhibition weekends and they had some wonderful just macro play. Like there were so many good moments that I can remember from a Infernal Shrines game when they were playing Leorc and they were just split pushing at the most opportunistic times while the friendly team was taking 4v5 poke fights. It's just, it's exciting to see them. And I'm glad to see a Korean player, Kyoto specifically, being grabbed this early in our draft.
What do you think, Grubby?
Yeah, it's like what Pat says. Yeah, when you've won that match, a little bit of ping isn't going to stop you. I think 60% seems a little crazy. Like to objectively think of it like that, that means he's like twice as good as everyone else if he can win. Seems a bit hard to believe, but we shall see, Doa.
That's great. I'm excited because I feel like that's a storyline that we're going to be bringing up all season long. Like Kyoto at 60%. You know, when is he going to go higher? You know. Is that all he needs? But let's move on with the draft. We are back again with Mike Udall himself from 30K Gaming. A little bit of a trade choices being made, or draft pick trading going on with you and Chili Mountain. I want to hear your side of it. What's the rationale between making the pick trades?
Well, I mean, supports as far as the draft go, aren't valued as high. If there were less good supports, the person I'm about to pick, the young BBJ, would be way higher. So that's a big part of why we traded, is because I want BBJ on my roster. Not only is he the best support in North America and maybe the best in the world, he's also content king. So really excited to have BBJ joining the roster. And it just wouldn't have made sense to pick him at 10, right? Like there's a lot of other roles that are higher value there. So I was kind of been shopping around my 10 pick, seeing what people would offer for it. And I was happy with Chili's offer.
Exciting. All right. So BBJ, the choice there, player / sometimes journalist in the community, it seems like lately. But well, you mentioned a great support player, but in game, what is it that BBJ brings besides just the mechanical skill?
Well, I mean, Abba Solo Hero is something that BBJ pretty much pioneered for HeroesHearth. Like, he's a drafter, he does secondary shot calling, really vocal player, as well as a trash talker. You know, he's always trying to play the mental game. As a player that was a trash talker, I love to see it. So I'm really, really, really excited to have BBJ join our roster. BBJ, you're a monster. I know you're seeing this.
All right. I like it. Cool. So Mike Udall picks BBJ for 30K gaming. And yeah, thanks for stopping by. We will be back with you for another pick soon.
Thank you.
All right, so that means, ladies and gentlemen, 2 rounds of the draft are done so far, and again, now I think we can say our first support player was picked. It was BBJ making the very last pick in the second round, but yeah, a role that seemingly some of the orgs are putting lesser of a priority on. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out as we look ahead to the season. But let's take a look at our draft board one more time to review who's been picked up so far. Grubby, I'm going to throw this one over to you as the draft board comes up. What's the biggest surprise yet for you on this list?
Well, we see, biggest surprise, yeah, only one healer. That's really what surprises me so far. BBJ coming out there at the very end. I think we're going to see a lot more of them in round 3 coming up. But yeah, that's my big surprise. How about you, Bahamut?
I gotta say, it's Nick and Srumpgata. Like Granite picking up those two, I think is synergistic and great. And I'm really itching to see what Granite Gaming picks up for their third pick. Are they going to build an EU roster?
Full EU, everyone on the same thing, so that when you make a move, it's still in lockstep.
See,
Not a bad
maybe.
idea, really. Yeah. We'll have to see what the other picks are going to be. And to do that, we're going to have to take a little bit of a break first. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with round 3 of the HeroesCCL draft here, presented by Roll20 right after this. Don't go anywhere. It's just going to keep getting more exciting. So we'll be back in a few.
Roll20 lets you build maps, drag and drop tokens, and other features that your kitchen table just can't do.
My table can't do any of those things.
No. Also, Roll20's video and voice feature let you connect with more people. So if you wanted to invite Lucas and Ariel...
Hey guys.
Hello. What's going on? That's no problem at all.
Ready to play?
Your friends, your games, your table, Roll20.
After a long day of work, nothing refreshes me more than a cold beer and a hot shower. That's why I use Duke Cannon's big-ass beer soap. This big-ass brick of soap is actually made with old Milwaukee beer. But guess what? It don't stink. It actually smells pretty damn good, like cedar, sandalwood, and other pleasant things that I don't even know about.
Welcome back, guys, to the Heroes CCL Draft Show, brought to you by Roll20, as you can see. And we are psyched to get ready for another round of drafting. 2 rounds down. That means 4 more rounds to go. And this is really, I feel like, the turning point where it gets interesting, right? Because arguably there are still some top players left in the draft, but the number of tip-top players, in a lot of people's opinions, are going to get a little bit lesser here. So we're going to see more picks maybe based on synergy with who has already been picked up for a team. But I should be asking you guys. You're the experts. So I'll go with you first, Grubby. What do you think we're going to see as far as the draft goes from here on out? How are things going to shift a bit?
Well, as the organizers have already, the team owners have already mentioned, the solo lane is getting extra squeezed. We only have a few picked up so far. I believe maybe 3 or so. We have maybe something like 3-4 ranged assassin, 4 or 5 tanks. We have 1 healer. I think we're going to see more solo lane prioritization. I also secretly think the 4th pick is going to be one of the most interesting, because we're going to, at that moment, see some of the lesser known players being picked up as well that maybe proved themselves in the exhibition matches. But I believe we have our next player to be picked soon.
We do indeed. We are back once again with Mike Udall from 30K Gaming. You had picks both 16 and 17 because of that trade with Chili Mountain. So 2 picks in a row. That's kind of a cool opportunity. How are you going to use it?
Well, I'm going to be drafting someone that has more Smurfs than everyone. It's going to be Vespertine, formerly known as Liam, to be playing the offlane for us. Someone I'm really amped up and excited about to have, play for 30K.
All right, picking up the offlaner, picking up Vespertine. What is sort of, as I'm always going to ask, how is this player going to fit well into who you've already picked, and what is it about them specifically that you like for 30K Gaming?
Yeah, I mean, he's really dedicated. Like he's just a really solid offline player. Like he's one of the top ones, as well as he's really vocal and brings a lot when it comes to like team atmosphere, team communication. Yep, so that's like kind of the main things.
Cool. Awesome to hear. Thanks again, Mike Udall, and we'll be back with you for your 4th pick shortly. All right, there you go. So the first pick of the 3rd round goes to another offlane, goes to Vespertine. Bahamut, what do you got?
I gotta talk about this. Vesper, I don't think Udall put enough emphasis on this. Vesper is, in my opinion, one of the best North American offlaners. They coined like Urel being so dominant. Like I was talking earlier about drafting someone or having someone in your team where you force a ban, the Samuro player that I was mentioning beforehand. This is a player where you can force a Urel ban. There have been points in the past where it is jokingly said in chat, if Vesper gets Urel, GG go next. And they have been nerfed and they have been brought more towards the center with that Dauntless at level 1. But regardless, I can't tell you how many times I've seen Vesper 1v5 on a Urel and use just all of their tools, Hand of Freedom, Ard Defender, everything just to be able to get away in the end, and the friendly team gets so much value. So I'm ecstatic for this pick, and I'm ecstatic for Vesper as well.
Yeah, on this website, he has a 70% win rate on Urel on NA, 66% on Greymane. And while these numbers aren't the full story, it's not Blizzard API plugged in. Those are some pretty ridiculous numbers. So,
and also keep in mind here, Grubby, what Udall said at the beginning too, more Smurfs. And that is true because they said it and I was like, who has this many? And I was like, oh yes, Vesper has an insane amount of Smurfs on North American servers.
Sure enough. All right. Well, we are going to go on to the next pick from round 3. Once again, back with us is going to be Fan from Sidestep Kings. And so it's time to make that third pick. Who have you got in mind?
Yeah, for my third pick, I will pick up the one and only June.
June,
Hey,
wow,
June
all
himself.
right. You teased it earlier a little bit. You're like, and then you shifted Kyoto, but June. So it sounds like. Do you hear some? Do you see some synergy between these two players?
Yeah, I see a ton of synergy between these two players. I mean, Kyoto very specifically asked for June on, so there's definitely, they can both speak Korean, obviously, so they can communicate with each other very well. And we've been hearing a lot about people saying that like the EU meta is a little bit like stronger than the NA meta in terms of macro game and strategy. But what about the KR meta? KR is the winningest, so
Fair
with
enough.
June, we'll be able to unlock Kyocha's 5-head brain. What the?
Oh, there
I
he
did
is.
say your name, June. All right, the man himself. Party crash it.
Wouldn't it be
That's-
awkward
that's
though if you
okay.
lose together and someone else picked him first?
That would be a little awkward, but luckily we don't live in that timeline, so that'll be my pick.
Fair enough.
There you go. All right. Well, our first player making an appearance here at the draft show as well. Congrats on the pickup of your roommate there, Fan. And we'll be back with you for your next pick.
Sounds good.
All right. So not only do we have the player synergy, the team synergy, we have the in-house synergy, the literal like roommate synergy going on there.
I'll be honest. This is all jokes aside. That is hilarious itself. But this is Tempo Storm 2.0, and this is looking like a strong team. Cattle June have insane synergy. You've already heard that Fan was saying that Cattle has played with June in the past. So there's that, and Cattle was kind of a leader when they were working with together. It's just there's so many things that are already built there synergistically, and then as they said, Kyocha June being able to conversate and have that communication level, that's huge because you kind of have this, June can communicate with Cattle and June can communicate with Kyocha, and you're just building on that. I'm ecstatic for this, and I think Sidestep Kings got a massive win with that pickup.
What do you think, Grubby?
I do think it's funny that he touts two people being able to speak Korean together, but then like, what about Cattle?
He's learning. He's obviously learning.
Sure, yeah.
Like, you're not going to be able to make use of that in game, but it's still great for practice, and it's still great for. What did he mean?
Who knows? You get a little bit of translation in there. It can work out. Yep.
Yeah.
I love how anyone who enters Fan's room gets the sunglasses automatically too. It's just the rite of passage, right? We've got Goon on the line now with HeroesHearth Esports ready to make their next pick. So Goon, who will it be?
Yeah, so with our next pick here, our third round pick, we're going with Bud Shin, formerly known as Buds.
Okay.
Yeah,
Buds. So why Buds?
Obviously, there's a lot of synergy between him and Justin, but also Buds is one of the coolest, chillest guys I've ever had the pleasure to talk to and hang out with and just be around. And that kind of attitude, that kind of personality in a team environment, sometimes, hey, you need that. So
some teams have a player that, they've got that one player that keeps everybody in the right headspace, but it seems like you're kind of trying to put together a roster where like everybody's going to be chill, is the goal that like HeroesHearth is going to be the chillest. Well, I mean, we got Chilly Mountain, but like chill in a different sense, chill in a mental sense team in the league.
I mean, we're still going to sweat. We're still sweaty. We're vibing. We're vibing. That's all it is. We're vibing.
I see. Physical sweat and mental chill. All right. It's a good start. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll be back with you for your next pick.
Sounds good. See ya.
All right. There you go. So what do you think? Reactions to the pick?
It makes sense, honestly, because in a lot of these interviews that I had with the organizations in the previous weeks that we were slowly releasing, a big factor for a lot of them, and HeroesHearth Esports specifically, was the personalities. What do you do in and outside of Here's the Storm? And it seems like they want to build this roster of people who are not only strong at the game, but have good personalities and synergistic personalities. So this makes sense for me for HeroesHearth.
Yeah, with that, we have another healer picked up now. Someone who, according to the stats, has Karazim, Brightwing, and Taronda high on the pickets. some of the less common hero picks for the healer role, especially something like Tyrande, needs a lot of synergy. Be curious to see if we're going to be seeing some of that coming up as well in their draft.
3 of the older heroes, too, as far as that role goes.
Yeah, if I remember correctly from the exhibition games, Justin played some Diablo, which that's obviously really synergistic with the Tyrande. So I like this. I think there's a lot of synergy even in the hero pool being.
Interesting. All right. Well, we're moving on to our next pick in the draft. Just like that, we're going to have Turk back with us from Crowd Control. Turk, I know you've got somebody in mind. Who's it going to be?
Hey guys, I will be picking Night Vision / X-Ray, whichever one he prefers these days.
Okay.
All right. I suppose one synergizes into the other name-wise, I guess. So, but Night Vision, what's the rationale behind that?
Well, it's our second tank that we're drafting. The team name is CC, so I'm looking to just get 5 tanks in here and just make sure nobody moves their character until the cows come home.
You know, they put an item in the game recently that lets you get out of crowd control. You know,
5-minute cooldown. Doesn't matter. We can wait it out. I got all the patience in the world.
All right, playing the long game. Turk from Crowd Control, appreciate it. We'll see you again soon for your next pick.
Bye.
3 European players, still keeping up the regionality of it.
All right, interesting.
I'm not sure. I want to know what's going on in Turk's mind, Turk and Leon's mind, with this secondary main tank. I just don't know. I don't know enough about Night Vision's or X-Ray's hero pool to argue for it or against it. Grubby, do you have any information that
no,
you might?
I don't. I have no idea.
I wish I knew. Maybe they do have some sort of off-lane picks between Lauber and Night Vision, and they're going to kind of swap between the off-lane and the main tank role, and this allows them just to pick up 2 assassins, two more assassins and a healer. I don't know. Crowd Control is one of the drafts that I'm most ecstatic to see because it's going to, I feel like, be the wildest.
Interesting. Yeah, it's one of those things too where it's like we don't know necessarily what the orgs are thinking as far as how they envision the meta changing potentially over the course of the season too. So you wonder sometimes if some of the picks have something to do with that. That said, it's kind of hard to force a meta shift. So 2 tanks. Interesting.
By the way, good point from chat as well. Trade value. You take some of the highest priority picks, squeeze out the scarcity and some of the roles for others, and then you can maybe lobby for one of the first pick heroes that someone else has now that they are without a tank. Just possibility.
Very good point.
Smart chat.
No, that's a really good point. Part of the draft strategy as well is to try to make those valuable trades between orgs. But we're going to move on. We have Joy back with us once again from Granite Gaming. Are you ready to make your next choice?
Hey guys, yeah, we are ready.
All right, who will it be?
It's going to be Beargold.
Beargold. Okay, and why is that?
Well, we knew that a lot of the good tanks and the more well-known tanks were going to be picked up really fast in the draft, such as Lauber, and so that's why we started prioritizing somebody like Nick and Swamgrotta. But we definitely want to lock in Beargold. So before he is gone, then we are going to lock him in.
Okay. Works for me. Cool. So, all right. Well, we will be back with you soon for your next pick, the Tank Choice Burger, going over to Granite Gaming. And good luck with strategizing. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right. So, reactions there. It seems like perhaps a bit of a surprising choice that time.
A little bit for me. I can't talk to the player, Grubby.
He's Swedish.
They're going for it. They're going for it.
I think they're doing it. Yep. It's interesting. All right. That would be really interesting to see an entirely Swedish roster in CCL, because we talked about this earlier. If you're going to have a team that's all EU to begin with, then you're going to have a situation where everybody's going to at least be on similar ping, right? And so that's going to help a bit with engagement. But they seem to be, Granite Gaming, possibly taking things one step further, where they're just not going from everyone from the same region. They might be going with everyone from the same nation, even.
Yeah, good morale between them. One language.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have Party Foul from Simplicity joining us in just a moment to make their next pick.
Nick is German, sorry, but they're all European. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. All European at least. Well, Partyfall back with us again. Are you ready to make the next pick for simplicity here?
I am ready.
All right. Who will it be?
We'll be taking Wit.
Wit. Okay. And why is that?
We just really want the strong front line. You know, he's still up. We think we will mesh really well with the team, and you know, he has experience, so we're really happy to pick him up here.
Okay. So Cure, Lutano, and Wit so far. That core. What would you say is the greatest strength in terms of like in-game synergy with those three players in particular?
I think we're going to have a very vocal team so far. You know, we have a lot of experience coming forward. We have the 2 shot callers with Kieran Lutano. Now we have someone who's going to be able to control that front line as well with. So I'm happy.
All right. Exciting stuff. Thanks for stopping by. We will be back with you again for your next pick.
Thank you.
All right. So Wit, the next selection there. Grubby, I'll throw this one to you first. Reactions to the Wit pick.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know him, but I will get to know him together with many of chat. And once we cast him, we'll be able to tell you on the second cast day more about him.
Hey, I mean, that's one of the exciting things about this too, because, you know, there are, you know, I feel like we've got, you know, at least 2 very knowledgeable people about a lot of the players in this scene. But as the season goes on, we get to kind of discover more about players that we've seen a bit less, or players that may be, you know, not necessarily saying that Wit is, but players that may be, you know, just largely unknown. So I think that's going to be one of the exciting things about the draft and the season that's incoming.
For all I know, he's more well known to some people, but like if I don't know him, then I have to say that we will find out together. Like honestly, I'm okay with that. Like let's get to know these players.
All right, exciting stuff. We're going to move on to our next pick in the draft. Mike Udall from 30K Gaming back with us again. Who will the next selection be?
We're picking, you know, an absolute monster at tank, Masquerade. You know, one of the best European tanks out there. Excited to have him. I mean, mechanical genius. So really, really pumped to have Masquerade join 30K.
Cool. A mechanical genius. What other qualities, in your opinion, does Masquerade bring to the team?
He's hilarious. So good team environment. One of the funniest players I've ever like played with or watched play. Just in cracking jokes.
That's always important. Definitely to keep the mentality high, whether you're winning or losing. Cool. Thanks for letting us know. Masquerade, the next pick for 30K Gaming. We'll be back with you soon. Only 2 picks remain. Excited to see what the next one is.
Though they see him from the brink, he just wrote in chat that he was thinking of retiring because he hadn't been picked yet. But now,
oh, wow, pulling back from the edge, I guess.
We're like halfway through the draft show and they're like, that's it, I'm done.
It's done.
I mean, technically that was the 4th pick for 30K because they, you know, did some pick trading with Chili Mountain, but still it's only the 3rd round. Masquerade, come on, man.
I do think this is a big win for them though. But looking at their team synergy, Vesper, BBJ, Hazuabs plus Masquerade, you're building a strong force and a strong experienced force as well.
Yeah, well, part of the incoming CCL season is going to be the veteran Heroes of the Storm players taking on some of the new blood rising up through Heroes League, coming up through the ranks. And that'll be a cool storyline to follow as time goes on, too.
I wonder at this point, what becomes the priority? Because I'm trying to figure out, like, is it still tanks? Like, there's the pool is still massive. Like, there's 200 plus players to choose from. And I don't know, like, it's just the names that we're seeing, they make a lot of sense, but there's still a lot that I really hope to see.
Sure enough. Well, we are moving right along. Back with us is Steve from Oxygen Gaming. And are you ready to make the next pick?
We are. We are happy to announce that our next pick is going to be Banana H in the support role.
Very
good.
good.
Banana H. And the Banana H pickup, he is going to synergize well with Nasmussen's Prismaticism, you're thinking? Of course.
Oh, yeah. We had a long discussion. Everyone seemed very excited to bring him on board. So we're all super hyped.
All right. Pretty exciting. What specifically does he bring to the team?
Well, we all were in agreement that he is the best support in EU. So given basically the options that we had available for the rest of the draft, we're really happy to bring him on board.
All right. Cool. Top EU player pickup for Oxygen Esports. We'll be back with you for the next pick soon.
Yeah, I don't know what he would have picked if he was not available anymore.
What's that?
Go ahead.
No,
he was so ready to get back with his players and strategize. He was like, all right, I'm done. I made the pick. I'm out.
I I want to talk about this just really quickly. Actually, no, hold on. I think we have something else coming up before that, but I can make a note about Banana afterwards. But Doe, I believe we have some information for everyone at home first.
Well, we can do this, while you are giving that information. Let's take a look at the draft board as it is at the moment, because technically that was the end of round number 3, even though we do still have Chili Mountain to make their 3rd pick. But what were you going to tell us about Banana H?
I gotta say, Oxygen has a massive win with this support pickup. Banana is actually an inspirational support to me. I watched them in some EU event that I woke up at like 3 a.m. to cast, and they were playing this hyper-aggressive Lucio, pushing off into the enemy team, diving into the backline, utilizing the sound wave to push people into their front line. And it's just... Wow. I love this, and I think with Prismaticism's aggression plus Banana on this, a lot of Lucio as well, this is going to be such a strong pickup for Oxygen. There's a great example also during the exhibition matches, if I'm not mistaken, where Banana kind of 1v2 harasses. They don't get a kill, but they harass and make it out of there alive. It's a great clip, and I hope everyone checks it out. But it's a big win, in my opinion, for Oxygen Esports.
Cool. Always good to have that aggressive support player / healer that's not just about keeping people alive, but plays too, right? Setting up the team fights and everything. So we're back with Oxygen once more. Steve joining us again to announce what their 4th pick is going to be. So Steve, welcome back. It's been so long.
I know, right? It's been terribly long. I've been all alone in the other room waiting. So we're happy to announce as our 4th pick, we're going to be picking up Madara. I think it's Madara Uchiha is how you say his name, but Madara.
Okay, yeah, Madara Uchiha, a player that's been coming up. A lot of people have been talking about. What do you see in him in terms of what he's going to bring to the team?
So what we see in him is we see a really young talent who didn't quite get the chance to compete in HGC just because of his age. We've all been very impressed with what he has shown in the exhibitions and just in the in-houses. So we're just really excited to actually have a crack at someone who has a lot of promise, but also can be molded to fit competitive play.
Well, that's exciting because a lot of players, in that sort of vein are, you would imagine players that would be picked up for that 6th pick, because that's where you get your development players. That's where you get your utility people, maybe for your team, for your organization. But, it's interesting to see a player kind of in that sort of category being picked a little bit higher too.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. I think it just goes to show like how much we value what he's shown off in the exhibitions and how high that we think his skill is. So we're just very excited to bring him on board.
All right, very cool. Well, exciting pick from Oxygen Esports. Thanks, Steve. We'll be back with you soon for the next one.
Madara has good win rates on Chromie, on Nazeebo, and has recently been picking up more Diva, Orphea, and Falstad. So he's definitely getting ready for a competitive role in the HeroesCCL. Let's see what he can bring to the table.
I want to note also during the exhibitions, as Oxygen was noting just a second ago, is they showed a lot of promise. They really, really did. And it's what they said about their age. Like Crowan was actually mentioning that when we were casting it, and they were saying how young they were, and I was blown away because there's so much potential for Madara. And as someone who got to cast them during exhibitions and seen them during in-houses, they are a big prospect player in my opinion. And I'm glad that they did not get passed over. They're a massive win for Oxygen again.
Exciting. All right. Well, we are moving on in the draft. We're going to have Sid Kitten with us from Chili Mountain. Again, remember Chili Mountain making those pick trades with 30K Gaming. So Sid Kitten coming in now with that little bit later pick, but I'm sure you've got a good player in mind.
So our pick is Dark Mock.
Dark Mock. Okay. Exciting. So a player that we actually saw a little bit in the video to begin the day, someone who's very excited to be drafted, psyched about CCL. Why are you psyched to have him on your team now?
Well, after we saw the video where he said he would dye his hair, I think that sealed the deal for us. So
do you get to pick the color?
Well, it has to be blue, Chili Mountain blue. But no, yeah, he's an experienced player, excellent mechanical skills, longtime competitor. So, I mean, the list goes on. So we had to pick him.
Very exciting. Dark Mock, the next selection for Chili Mountain Gaming. And we'll be back with you shortly for the next pick.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite players, Darkmog. First time I saw him play Thrall, I fell in love with the hero Thrall. He was the best Thrall I'd ever seen. Was quite a moment. I'll never forget.
Wow.
Great melee assassin player. Is that? I mean, we don't really talk about melee assassin anymore
we
in
don't.
the roles. His official role is solo lane, which makes sense. Thrall, not as common now as before, but yeah, excellent player, very chill demeanor. I think he's a real attribute to have on any team. Great pick.
You know,
Sid
and as
noted
far
it. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You're the
I just wanted to say, Sid said it perfectly. Like, they have a laundry list of experience in Heroes of the Storm in competitive nature and being an overall great person in the community as well. So this is a huge win for them. And I think it's also a little funny that they were just like, well, also, you know what? The hairstyle, like that was like the nail in the coffin that we were like, yes, we want them, but now we definitely want them. I like that. It's a little cute coming out from Chili Mountain.
You know, as far as hair colors go, blue, that's not too out there, you know. So it's
Yeah,
he got off
maybe
kind
some white highlights.
Indeed. So we're gonna join Party Foul now from Simplicity to tell us their next pick in the draft. What's it gonna be?
It's gonna be Collusion.
Collusion.
Wow.
Okay. And so, what are they going to bring to Simplicity?
So Collusion's worked with Kier and Lutano before, so we're just bringing a lot of synergy to the table here.
Okay.
Very strong player, in my opinion, you know, since the very beginning, and really happy to have him.
All right. Pretty exciting. So do you feel overall that you kind of rate previous teamwork experience, previous synergies maybe a little bit higher than just a bunch of different players of high individual skill?
I do. I think synergy is really important in this game. You know, knowing what your teammates are going to do and having someone, especially on that support role, that knows, you know, your the range player and the offlaner really well, is really going to bring, you know, some good plays to the table.
All right, exciting stuff. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll be back with you soon for another pick.
All right, thank you.
Collusion has some cool support pickups, actually. In the past, they've played damage-based Kharazim on Battlefield of Eternity quite a bit, and I like that because there's this major dive that could be synergized with them and Lutano, because Lutano, as we said in the past, plays an insanely strong tracer. So having a healer that knows how to play with a dive-heavy ranged assassin or assassin in general, that's a big synergy. And I think Simplicity are just nailing this right now, saying we know who to put together because they're asking for these things as well. But I love it. I love it here, Grubby.
Yeah, same. I remember Collusion. I think of Malfurion. I saw him play so much on that back in the days. I check his profile. It's one of his highest win rates. Excellent support. Kharazim, also one of his most played. Not as high of a win rate. Damage, healing, not quite the same. Maybe he didn't have that synergy that he needs. He expects for his to be CCL teammates.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on. Once again, Joy from Granite Gaming will be with us to let them know our next pick. So, Joy, who do you have in mind for pick number 4 for Granite?
We have chosen for Nintori to fill up the offlane role for Granite Gaming.
Okay, Nintori. All right, in the offlane. So a lot of teams not waiting as long to pick up an offlaner, but you're confident with Nintori. What did they bring to the team?
Well, from what we've seen from him, he has very wide hero pool, and I know that there's a lot of potential in there, and our coach, Bad Benny, thinks the same. So we're going to go with his judgment there.
All right, cool. Well, that is Tori, the pickup by Granite Gaming. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back with you again very soon for another pick.
Hey, Doa, that's cool. I didn't know that they picked up Bad Benny, one of the ex-HCC pros. I didn't know they picked him up as a coach. I knew he was looking for someone to help. He said, I've got all this love to give, all this wisdom to give. Who's interested? Apparently, Granite Gaming picked him up on that offer and has now sent them. He has sent them in the direction of Nintori. Nintori, checking out his profile, seems to be a bit of a Chen one trick. Well, they said he's versatile, but Chen has an unduly high amount of games on that hero. So that's pretty cool to see in an offlane. Not a Urel that like literally everybody and their grandmother has to play, but a hero with some finesse.
Chen is one of those that we did see, and I want to say it was a barrel Chen from Nintori, and I think that might have been the game that convinced Crowan that that Wandering Keg is actually viable, because they were like, oh, it's Storm, Earth, and Fire because of the stagger value, and I was like, Crowan, Wandering Keg, it's a barrel boy, and they really showcase that, and it's a big pickup for them. But I think Joy said it well as well. They have a lot of promise with them, and I've seen them in the past in grassroots events, and definitely Nintori is a big win for Granite Gaming.
All right. Well, moving on in the draft, we are going to be joined once more by Turk from Crowd Control. Turk, I know you're out there. There you are. What's the next pick going to be?
I'm going to be picking Dino.
Dino, okay. And why is that?
I'm going to flex him to tank. I just want to see his tanks. No, I think he's a very valuable player. I'm honestly shocked that he hasn't been picked already. I think he's one of the more talented European DPS players. I've been paying attention to him. So he's mine now. You can't have him.
Why do you think other orgs would sleep on him?
Yeah, I'm not sure. They're lost though. I'll take him.
All right, cool. Anything in particular that's very exciting about his play?
I think he complements. Well, I also have Rutzo on my team, so I think he complements Rutzo's playstyle well as the heroes that they each have. I think they complement each other, so should be fun.
All right, cool. Turk Crowd Control with their fourth pick of the draft for that organization. Pretty exciting stuff. The DPS player being brought in. Obviously going to be flex to tank, as you mentioned, but we'll look forward to seeing it.
Bye, guys.
Loads of games on Tracer, Junkrat, Zeratul, also one of his highest win rate heroes in Kel'Thuzad and Cassia. So he's got a pretty cool team. Kel'Thuzad, I would say, is the most tank-like of ranged assassins. He can initiate, he can stun, not stun, root multiple people and move them like tanks are supposed to do. So very exciting pick, great DPS player, and another European for the roster.
Yeah, makes sense. You got that regional synergy going, huh, Bahamut?
That's exactly what I was going to say, is regional synergy doesn't hurt, and it plays into the name of the organization, Crowd Control. I mean, I rarely get to see a lot of good Kel'Thuzad play, and this is something I'm already itching to see in the regulation season, or sooner than that maybe. But yeah, I
don't watch my stream?
Not enough, Grubby,
no, you wouldn't have seen any good KT.
I don't know. The last time I saw KT was when I was beating him in WoW. So that's you got more experience than me there. We're gonna jump back in with Goon from HeroesHearth Esports to see what their fourth pick is going to be. Goon, who do you have in mind for us?
Look, I'm just excited every time I come back into this call to see all these beautiful faces. Let me get those Gatchy hypers in chat. So for the fourth pick, we're gonna go with none other than Unaverted. That's who we're going to go with.
Unaverted. Okay. So what does Unaverted bring to HeroesHearth Esports?
He has a lot of experience. He has a lot of experience in the amateur scene. Very talented player, a lot of potential. And that guy is honestly one of the he's straight up, man. One of the most straight up guys you can ever meet. I'm glad to be able to call him not only, someone I've coached in the past, but also a friend. So that's where we're going. That's where we're going with that.
Cool. We might rename a HeroesHearth 2 the Super Friends a little bit later on. Like it's coming together. We'll see you soon for another pick.
Thank you.
A great community pick, as they were mentioning. Unaverted's been around for quite some time and definitely established themselves within the grassroots scene. So I'm excited to see them get their chance at this.
Cool. All right, Grubby, any insight onto Unaverted?
Loads of games on Hanzo.
Mm-hmm. Really good Hanzo player.
Interesting. All right. And Heroes of the Storm, too, notably the last place that Scatter Arrow exists for Hanzo's kit. It's just gone in Overwatch. They took it out.
Oh yeah, because it's BS when you get hit by the triple ricochet.
Hey, I didn't think it was that bad after they took out the ability of the arrows to crit, but it's
I feel like that might be coming from a Hanzo main, but maybe.
No, we'll say Hanzo enthusiast. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good way to put it. But actually, I'm just excited for the upcoming picks, because I'm still looking at the list and I don't know what everyone's going to go for still. There's so many options.
Well, we are back now with Fan from Sidestep Kings. The last choice was June. Who is the next choice going to be? Got any more roommates in there that you want to pick up? Or?
No more roommates here.
Okay.
But this time we'll go for a EU player. Gonna make a full around the world international team shindig. Let's go. So we're gonna be picking up Guess Who I Am, aka Ultralisk.
Okay. All right. Guess who I am, aka Ultralisk. As you mentioned, we don't have to guess anymore. We know it's Ultralisk. But like you said, you're bringing in players from 3 different regions now, coming together. Like, how are you going to make this work synergy-wise?
Well, most of the EU players and NA players have been playing in houses during the early mornings of NA anyway, so there's like some mutual time there that seems to work for both NA and EU. And Kyoto is a pretty special case. He says he can make NA and EU practice times if needed. So it's a little bit funky, but I think we have all the pieces needed to make it work here.
All right. Sounds exciting. Thanks for letting us know what the pick is going to be. Ultralisk from Sidestep Kings, and we'll be back with you for another pick soon.
That's good.
Before we go into the next pick phase, Doa, make sure to maybe ask someone about whether everything has gone according to plan so far. Of course, we don't know if the tournament, if the team or owners actually want to say like, we actually wanted player X, Y, or Z, because
we'll see.
Well, you just have to go with what you have.
I was gonna let him get at least 4 or 5 picks in there before I started kind of doing the overall stuff. We'll get that out of them though.
Any regrets? Like anyone you wish you didn't pick?
That's right. You want to make any trades right now? All right, well, we're going to move on with the draft. Sid Kitten is going to be back with us from Chili Mountain for their next pick. This is going to be their 4th pick in the draft. So, Sid Kitten, who do you have in mind for the next pick for Chili Mountain?
Is Dark Chimera.
Dark Chimera. Okay, all right. Well, how are they going to augment the skills that you've already brought together for Chili Mountain?
So what we really like about them is that they have really strong synergy with Fury, which is really important for our team. Also a good mechanical healer and a positive mindset, which is something that we've been talking about throughout this whole experience, that we really wanted somebody who would be positive on the team.
So rather than just a single player to keep everyone in line too, is part of the efforts to try to pick a whole squad that is able to sort of keep it a little bit more, lighthearted, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's a very vocal person too. So we really like that.
Okay. Cool. All right. Thanks for letting us know what the pick is going to be. And we'll be back with you soon for pick number 5.
So, if I'm not mistaken, Dark Chimera and Fury played on a team together called LFW, and they won the S Division with, I think there was like Casanova and Chrome were playing as well, but they had this synergy, and I want to say they were the two that were picking Ana Uther on Infernal Shrines, running that Kerrigan as well. I'm like, seeing Fury and Dark Chimera together, I'm like smiling ear to ear, because that's such a great synergy for Chili Mountain, and they're making great moves with that pickup.
So who do you think, and I'll throw this out to both of you, but I'll ask Grubby first. Who do you think out of the rosters we've seen so far, who's got the most exciting like synergies going on between their players at the moment?
Well, I think Granite Gaming has a very strong team so far with Nyx, Svampgrotta, Berghout, and Nintori. It's hard to really talk about synergy until you see every team win and lose with the 5 or 6 that they have now. I tend to not get too overhyped about synergies early on, because I've been in some teams, and when you're winning, synergy is always good. I want to see how they perform when they're losing.
That's Makes sense. Yeah. I gotta say, I'm leaning a little bit. It's a toss between Sidestep King and 30K for me. Those two, it's hard to say, because I think there's a lot of synergies with these top tier players on both sides. But Grubby made one of the best points. It's how do they play together when they're losing? Because winning is great. Like I've played with a bunch of friends and we've won a bunch of games, and it's like, cool, we're all great. But losing is a completely different mentality. And I agree with Grubby. That is something that I really want to see, is how do they bring it back when they're maybe on a 2-0 in a best of 5 series, and can they make that reverse sweep happen?
Absolutely. As you can see, we're kind of cycling through the players that have been picked up already for the different organizations, because we're 4 deep now, where we know who 4 out of the potentially 5 starters are going to be for these teams. That's not to say that maybe the organization has picked up someone here that they don't see as a starter quite yet, but you'd have to imagine your first 4 are at least going to be people you're planning on putting in right away.
I agree with that. Absolutely. The only one that maybe stands out that you might flex is the Madara pick, because I think that's kind of their mold pick they wanted early, but we might not. I mean, they might pick up that utility player. Madara might be a starter. We don't know that yet, but hey, we still have 2 more rounds of picks here, Doa. I'm excited.
Indeed. Still a lot of picks to go through here. We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we are going to have the final 2 rounds of the draft here on the HeroesCCL draft show presented by Roll20. Don't go anywhere, guys. Doa, Grubby, and Bahamut will be back with you right after this.
Roll20 lets you build maps, drag and drop tokens, and other features that your kitchen table just can't do.
My table can't do any of those things.
No.
Also, Roll20's video and voice feature let you connect with more people. So if you wanted to invite Lucas and Ariel...
Hey guys.
Hello.
What's going on? That's no problem at all.
Ready to play?
Your friends, your games, your table, Roll20.
After a long day of work, nothing refreshes me more than a cold beer and a hot shower. That's why I use Duke Cannon's big-ass beer soap. This big-ass brick of soap is actually made with old Milwaukee beer. But guess what? It don't stink. It actually smells pretty damn good, like cedar, sandalwood, and other pleasant things that I don't even know about.
Welcome back to the Heroes CCL Draft Show presented by Roll20. Doa, Grubby, and Bahamut with you, and we are 4 rounds down with the draft so far. And we're going to take a look at all the players that have picked up in a moment. But just to kind of recap, to get back into the flow of things here, Grubby, I'll go to you first here. Things going as expected or surprises? What are you excited about so far?
Yeah, I mean, when this idea of the HeroesCCL was announced and that Masters and GM could sign up and go into the free agent pool, I had these visions of all the unknown players finally proving that they were better all along than some of the HCC ex-pros. We're not quite often at foot yet on the first step in terms of people picking. They've been picking pretty safe, and I think it makes sense. A lot of these people have proven themselves in HCC or some of the other community initiatives. So round 1, round 2 picks are all players that we know and that have proven themselves. It's at round 3 to 4 that we start seeing people that haven't played in one of those vested elite pro teams that much yet. Some of them, anyway.
Bahamut, what do you think?
I look at all these players and I'm blown away. Like, yeah, there are a lot of the old guard, I guess you could say, but as I was noting before we went into break, Madara is that player for me that really stands out, and I'm excited to see what they're able to do within the CCL atmosphere because I think this is a big shot for them.
Yeah, Madara Uchiha going early on in the 4th round, one of our new players to watch in the Heroes of the Storm scene, I suppose.
Most of all, what just stands out is that there's so much skill collectively here already. We're gonna be watching such good Heroes of the Storm, and it's always a bit of a breath of fresh air, especially if you play Storm League sometimes or a lot. It's always so good to just watch how the game is meant to be played, and I'm sure with the list so far, we're definitely gonna see it.
Absolutely. Well, it's time to move on to the draft, get the 5th round started here. And so once again, we are joined by Sid Kitten from Chili Mountain Gaming for their second to last pick of the draft. It's they've all been big picks, but I feel like we're kind of getting to the very end, so it gets a little bit bigger. So who have you got in mind for pick number 5?
So our pick number 5 is CPX.
CPX.
Wow.
All right. So I got to ask, why the CPX pick?
So we've heard he takes pre-workout before scrims. So we're glad he's going to be energized for the games, as well as doing some bicep curls on the side, perhaps. He just really complements our hero pool. He's a longtime successful amateur NA player, so he has all the skills required to bring a lot to the team.
Hey, it makes sense. Healthy body, healthy mind. So. But good to bring that to Chili Mountain. Do you think he's going to have an effect on the rest of the players on Chili Mountain? Maybe help, them get into like tip-top shape as well?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
All right. We'll look forward to see that as the season goes on too. We'll see you soon for the final pick.
CPX. There's a lot of memes about it and everything, but in all seriousness, they are a very strong player. And this actually, it's a great compliment to the Chili Mountain draft.
Can you tell me what you know about CPX? Because I'm not familiar with him.
CPX is really good, as you heard, at taking pre-workout, muscle build. Oh, you mean about Heroes of the Storm? Oh, okay. They're a strong ranged assassin player. Seriously though, they actually are a strong ranged assassin player. Notably, I think they have some great tracer games. I want to say they have Hanzo as well in that repertoire. I think they have some Zeratul in like the back pocket. So quite a few assassins in their actual pool as well. And just a person who's been around the Heroes of the Storm community for quite some time now.
Interesting.
Okay.
All right. So it's cool to see some of these players come up that, maybe either were close to having the chance to really prove themselves in the past or, have come up since then, and players that we're going to be sort of like learning about. We need that mix, the mix of the old guard and the new guard and maybe the unseen guard, if that makes any sense as well.
And this is a player who's been in the North American scene for long enough and even floating around the European a little bit as well, where all these players, they know each other and they've played in games. So it's not like this is a foreign player, like a foreign player playing together, if that makes any sense.
Right. I can see that. We're going to move on, though. It's time to join once again up with the most realistic glasses in all of esports. It's banned from Sidestep King. What do you got for pick number 5?
Yeah, pick number 5. I mean, do you see how well these glasses move? I mean, come on.
It's pretty
That's
impressive,
fair.
actually.
Yeah.
They're real. There's nothing else about it. Anyways, so for pick number 5, we're gonna be going back to NA. We're gonna be choosing Got Filth.
Okay.
All right, Got Filth, a player that I've heard a lot of people talking about. In the Reddits, in the chat for the exhibition matches. What have you got to say about Got Filth?
Yeah, so we're finally getting to the point where we can dig into some of the like NA Grandmaster Storm League talent. And really, over time, there's only been 2 people that kind of piss me off in Storm League. And the only people that can piss me off are people that are really talented when I play against them. And Got Filth is definitely one of those. So I believe in his abilities. I've seen him play a lot of stuff. This is like kind of a fully NA Storm League. Like he's the people I've already picked on the team are vouching for him. And I also have a pretty good feeling about him myself just from watching him play. So
exciting stuff. All right, bringing some of the new blood in, so to speak. Thanks for letting us know, and we'll be back with you soon for your final pick.
Cool to see some of that NA Storm League power coming in. We see that he plays a lot of Greymane, a lot of Genji, Li Ming, some of the highest priority picks. So he should be pretty well-rounded, like Fan said.
They've got a notable Li Ming, as you just mentioned. Their Hanzo, if I'm not mistaken, has some really great plays in the past as well. So a strong ranged assassin, and I'm excited for this one. Got Filth is definitely a priority, and pulling from the Storm League environment specifically, because we were talking about people who have had HGC past experience or in some of these bigger bigger grassroots initiatives. This is a player who's just kind of been in Storm League and just put their nose down, and they grinded so hard on this, and it really shows. And I'm glad that Got Filth has this chance to showcase all of their ranged assassin skills.
It's exciting stuff, and probably something we're going to see more and more as we get into deeper in the 5th and 6th rounds. Speaking of more picks, we have Goon back with us from Wildheart Esports, rubbing his hands together. He's excited about this pick. I can tell. What's it going to be?
All right, so for our 5th pick for Wildheart Esports, we are going to go with Funds, also known as Fun Buns. We're going to go with him.
All right. So for those who are unfamiliar with Funds or Funds Buns, what do you have to let them know about that? Wording. I'm working on
it. Funds is got a lot of potential, developing talent, great leadership qualities, personally speaking, and a lot of skill. This also allows us to be a little bit more flexible, if you know what I mean, if you catch my drift. So, but yeah, I'm really excited about Funds being on the team, and I'm really excited to see what kind of player he can develop into.
All right, cool to see again. More new blood being picked up, being developed over the course of the season. Look forward to seeing how that going, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon for your last pick.
Awesome, see ya.
Funds is one of those solo lane players, but I wonder if Goon's alluding to maybe expanding Funds' player pool or hero base, maybe, and having them be a flex, because it's kind of something that teams need to consider is, do you have a flex pick? Do you have someone who you can bring in and they can throw in that random Lost Vikings, or they can just pick up a Greymane and the other team has never seen their Greymane? It's interesting. I wonder how they're going to play this Funds pick. Any thoughts here, Grubby?
Yeah, you might be onto something, Bahamut, because his profile actually shows the biggest contrast. His most played heroes is all assassin style, or ranged assassin or melee assassin, but then his win rates are all melees, but his latest played are all flex, like Madara, Zarya, Maiev. So everything is different. Maybe he's preparing. Maybe he's been tipped off. Maybe that he will have some chance to play on one of these teams, and he's been kind of switching up his hero pool.
Interesting. All right. Well, like I said, these rounds are going to get more and more intriguing. And speaking of intriguing, we have Turk with us from Crowd Control, the team that loves tanks. What do you have for us this time?
Hey guys, I'm taking Quaza off of the Fusion pool.
Quaza. All right. What is up with Quaza?
Quaza is a young, talented European offlaner. He's full of youth and vigor, I hear. He's a bit of a ladies' man, I also hear. All these are pluses. So I added it up, did the math. We're shipping him.
Okay.
What's he gonna do if Greymane gets banned?
Can you please not?
Such a
Get
good
stuff like
Greymane.
that? What the hell?
Grubby's just like diving into those stats already, man. The season hasn't even started yet. Give him a chance. All right, thanks, Turk. We'll be back with you soon for the final pick.
Thanks, guys.
So, at least from my knowledge, they are an off lane pick, correct?
Well, he plays Greymane.
Is
plays a whole lot of.
Is it just Greymane? Like that's
There-
it's just
I
they have a
faced him-
level. Yeah.
He has like 4 Smurfs or something in Europe. So all versions of Quasar, Dequasar, Za, Qua, whatever.
Mhm.
It's always Greymane. And like even when he's playing against, I mean, I know the world doesn't revolve around me, but I'll be like playing with my wife on our off day, and it's like it's Greymane. Like there he is with Greymane again, and I beg my banner to ban Greymane, and then like he 1v4s everyone. Wherever Greymane can go, that's where he's going to go. But realistically, I don't know what his official role is going to be on the team. Could be substitute as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm most not worried about, but that's what I'm most curious about here. Looking at what they signed up for, because I mostly base off my knowledge what they signed up for, and some players literally signed up for one thing and then they swapped off to another. So we'll see. They could be playing off lane. They could be a flex assassin. We'll have to see what happens.
Could just be getting in Grubby's head too. Have something totally different in mind. Who knows? Yeah. But we're gonna move on. Joy back with us again from Granite Gaming. The 5th pick. The time is now. Who have you selected?
The time is now. Indeed, we have selected Henning.
Henning. Okay. So for those who are less familiar, what does Henning bring to the team?
Henning is a very experienced support player that has represented Granite Gaming in multiple tournaments, actually. Heroes Hype, Division S, and there he's also been a team captain. So we have good experience with him, and we want to bring him back on.
All right. Makes a lot of sense. Okay. So that's yeah, all right. Well, that'll do it, and we will see you soon for your final pick.
All right.
Grubby, Henning, if I'm not mistaken, is a European player because the Granite Gaming and all that stuff.
Yep.
Have you had any experience running into them in Storm League? Because I've only had a couple of moments to cast them, and I want to say that they have a very strong Ana, and I want to say there's a Decker Kane in there as well. But do you have any thoughts on Henning's pick?
No, I think he plays at different times. Maybe he plays earlier. I usually play later at night, but he has been on the team with Swamp Grotto before, so we're getting a lot of old cooperations back together again. And yeah, I think it's a great pickup.
It was a bit surprising to me to hear, again, that like this is someone that's played with Granite in the past. This is someone that they saw as sort of like a leader, but picked so late in the draft. Those are kind of two things that you wouldn't expect to kind of go together. That if this person is seen as one of your leaders, you'd imagine picking them a little bit early. So I'm a little bit surprised by what Joy told us with that.
I'm just looking at the full picks and everything. I don't think there was many orgs that needed healers, so I think it was a fairly safe pick. But you are right; it is a little bit late to be grabbing Henning here.
Makes sense. All right. We're going to move on with our next pick. I believe it is going to be Party Foul joining us once again from Simplicity. Party Foul, who do you have for the 5th pick here for the team?
We have Hosty.
Hosty,
Who
okay.
is that dude?
Sorry.
Well, there you go. He's going to tell us right now. Who is Hosty?
Who's Hosty? Hosty, yep, our 5th pick. We're staying with the theme of keeping it synergy between everybody. Hosty played with a lot of the members that we already have so far, so we're just going to go ahead and bring him back in, and we're excited to have him back.
If you could tell anything to the fans about Hosty and like what they should be excited about specifically watching them play, what would it be?
Well, I specifically told Hosty he can only play Lucio now, so unfortunately no Zul'jin. Just kidding. Hopefully we'll see some of that spicy Zul'jin come out this season. I know everybody should be excited for it, but we're going to pick him up to fill that flex DPS role for us and, just get this team going.
All right. Spicy indeed. All right. Well, one pick remains for Simplicity. We'll be joined again by you, Party Foul, soon to find out what that is.
Thank you.
I gotta make a note because during exhibition games we jumped into comms and Hosty was playing a Medivh, and their Medivh, I want to say they finished their basic the baseline trait quest. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but either way, the 40 stacks, they finished that out in like sub 7 minutes, and it was crazy. We jumped into comms at one point, and they had this insane dive, and then someone in the comms just goes, "Who's this Hosty dude?" And it just like, honest to God, like Hosty, someone who stands out, someone who's been in the community, someone who has been grinding at Heroes of the Storm, and this is a really awesome chance for them. And Simplicity has built such a synergistic group. All these teams are building synergistic groups, but every time I see a new player, I'm just like, oh my God, that's so great. I'm so excited for them.
Any Hosty thoughts from you, Grubby?
No, not at this time. I'm just looking at the final 2 teams, 30K, still going to be bringing it up with their 5th pick, and so it's Oxygen Esports. That means we have only 2 more players. If this is the main roster that teams have, only 2 more players that are going to be on the main roster. And what really stands out is the weird thing is there's so many good players left that haven't been picked yet. Only 2 more main squad. I'm really curious to see who is going to be the next one.
All right. Well, we're going to find out right now because we have Mike Udall back with us from 30K. Mike, what's the plan for pick number 5?
We are going to select another ranged DPS. We're going to be picking Sammy. And, absolute monster when it comes to Li Ming, Vala, a lot of those ranged DPS. We're pretty excited to have him join the squad, round us out.
All right. So why should fans out there get excited about Sammy? You mentioned a bit of the hero pool, but what about their play style really kind of stands out?
Yeah, Sammy's a really aggressive player. So you'll see him, looking for a lot of flanks. I am really excited to see the pairing of BBJ, Masquerade, and Sammy. BBJ playing aggressive with Sammy to kind of help enable him. And then Masquerade, just a really strong mechanical tank, setting everything up.
All right. Makes a lot of sense. Exciting stuff. 1 pick remains for 30K. We'll let you go for now. We'll let you think about it, but we'll be back with you soon to find out what that is.
Thank you.
It's a great note that Michael just had about the whole dive potential, because we had talked about that previously when we were noting, I'm trying to skim and find it exactly, Simplicity's draft. You have the dive from Lutano and Collusion, and we talked about that synergy, but I think Sammy going in and having an aggressive assassin player who has an aggressive tank and aggressive support, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of blood coming out from 30K, but that's exciting. I like that.
My style right there. I like
Yes.
seeing this, bloodthirsty support over the years. One of the reasons why I started playing a lot of HOTS to begin with was just because you got to get in there, get aggressive right away from minute 1. And it's cool to see teams taking that to the limit, perhaps.
On September 16th, Sammy asked Twitterverse, still undecided if I want to play CCL, what does Twitter think? And Hasselhoff said, yeah. And Lauer said, of course you should, man. And finally he's like, yeah, I think I'm just going to go for it. I was super hyped for all the upcoming hot stuff with CCL. Just had a rough couple of weeks. And then he's like, okay, I signed up for CCL. He said this 20 hours ago. Please, someone pick. He had the cutest emotes with a little halo. And he got picked.
It worked out. Yeah. The community happened. Now we're going to be joined again by Steve from Oxygen Esports for their 5th pick of the draft right now. Steve, are you ready to unveil who it is?
I'm ready. So for our 5th pick, we are picking Red Robot as tank.
Oh, okay. Red Robot. Interesting. And so a tank pick falling so far back in the draft, that might surprise people a little bit. But why Red Robot? Why now?
So the interview that I had with Red Robot, he was a pleasure to talk to. Solid tank player that we all agreed in our little secret chat. And also everyone kind of picked up their tanks earlier. So we actually got to really take our time and think about who we wanted to pick up. And we all mutually agreed that Red Robot was probably the strongest pickup for us, just synergy wise.
Okay. Interesting. So when people watch Red Robot specifically, what should they be excited about their play in particular?
Well, he definitely is a playmaker. That's a big factor in tanks because you definitely want to have your tank be the primary playmaker. So
for sure.
I mean, when all of our discussions, we were really excited to have that capability in a player.
All right, cool. We know you've got one more pick coming soon, but we will give you just a second to think about it, and we'll be back to find out what that is in just a moment.
You were talking about Red Robot Bahamut earlier on.
Mm-hmm. It's a player that I was excited and was hopeful that they would get drafted, and that's exactly going to be the case. There's so many good people drafted so far, Doa. So many good people.
Well, only 7 more remain out of all of the players, out of over 200 players that we've got available to be drafted. As we look across this draft board, We see who's been picked so far, but there are only 7 spots left for the first season of CCL. It's exciting stuff. It's getting dramatic. It's coming down to the wire, isn't it?
I'm looking at all these drafts and I'm like, I think these are a lot of the starting drafts. Obviously, I think Wildheart picked up their flex in funds, and Simplicity did the same thing with Hosty, because they literally, I think, said that in our interview. So the 6th pick for Simplicity and Wildheart should actually be maybe their main roster, and then we are going to be seeing that flex. That's, at least from all the interviews, from everything that's being picked so far, what I'm looking at is that's kind of how I'm expecting things to go. I think we are looking at our main roster for a lot of these. Chili Mountain might be flexing though, like CPX and like another assassin here. I'm ecstatic to find out what the 6th round will actually entail, because this is kind of where all the mental games I think really start to play in.
Yeah, I want to ask them all who their starting roster is going to be when we get to these 6 picks, but I've got a feeling a lot of them either, A, won't want to tell us, B, don't know, and like C, kind of want to wait and see how things go, a little bit later, since we've got a little bit of time before the season begins to kind of feel things out a bit more. What do you think, Grubby?
Yeah, I just want to see if some team may be so confident that their 5 players are going to make it all the way through the regular season, and that for the 6th one, they just get someone to really vibe with, just to hang out with. Like, I want to see if J-How is going to get picked up. Not saying he's not good enough to be one of the teams, but like I see J-How in that list, fellow caster from way back when as well. So, yeah, is someone going to pick him up? Horse Pants? Like, we got a lot of cool games.
Yeah, tons of names.
We'll find out. We've got Steve back with us from Oxygen right now to let us know what their final pick of the draft is going to be. Don't listen to anything Grubby said. Like, don't let it influence you at all. Like, this is your pick. This is your team. But who's it going to be? What's the final pick for Oxygen?
Well, I'm very sorry to disappoint everybody, but our last pick is going to be Cascon.
Okay.
All right. So
Okay.
why should people be getting excited about Cascon?
Well, the double support is really strong, and he also brings a lot of game knowledge that we're really excited to bring into the team. There's a secret plan around this guy that I don't want to share to the public just yet, but we're very excited and really hyped that we managed to get him.
So I'll ask all the representatives from the orgs this as we go through, but where you've done it, you've named your 6 players for the draft here. Did things go as planned, or did you have to make some changes as it went along?
I'd be kind of sweaty if I was any of the other teams right now, because this draft went exactly how we planned it. We did a lot of research, so this entire time it's been nothing but hype for us.
Are you comfortable telling us who you think your starting 5 are going to be, or do you want to give it some time?
I can't, because that'll ruin the secret surprise we have planned. Sorry,
all right,
guys.
Let's see any farther on it. We got to ask. We're playing a little bit of the journalist role. You understand. But thanks for joining us. Good luck on the upcoming season. Thanks for the insight, and we'll see you soon. Steve from Oxygen.
This is a player that I wanted so bad to be drafted. I'll be honest. Like, we have caster bias and we're supposed to say, like, neutral and everything, but like Cascon was one of those community members that I really, really wanted to be able to be drafted. I can think of an exact moment on Tomb of the Spider Queen during the exhibition matches where they had this 200 IQ to literally pull a stale while and listen out while they're on boss, to let the team cycle players in and out from that boss to cap it and actually find a double kill within that as well. Cascon's a playmaker, someone that is undervalued, and I'm so glad that Oxygen grabbed them.
Yeah, anyone saying that Cascon would not have got picked up by any orc would just be trolling. I'm sorry, but there's just no way. NA has some good supports, but the meta doesn't suit them, and individually they are outclassed. That's what we've been seeing from chat.
Went down to the wire, but Cascon did get picked in the end. So it's getting excited. Like it's getting exciting right now. I mean, it's been exciting the entire time, but we're down to the last 5 picks. There's a lot of good players out there yet. And, I think it's important to stress, too, that if you're a player out there that doesn't get picked right now, it doesn't mean it's the end of the road, obviously. It doesn't mean stop grinding and keep trying, because theoretically, hopefully in the future, we're going to see this thing grow quite a bit. And, so I would say don't give up. I know we've got 5 left, but, stay positive. 5 more picks. The next one we're going to hear from is going to be the final pick from Mike Udall and 30K Gaming. It's been quite a journey, but we are here. The final pick. Who's it going to be?
The final pick for 30K. She's someone that I've been really impressed with. out of all the players in the free agent pool, she's messaged me the most on Twitter, all the social medias. She's got big desire and wants to play. With the 6th pick, 30K, selects Breakwood.
Let's go.
All
They did
right.
it.
Breakwood, the choice for 30K. Now, you and I were chatting yesterday, actually, a little bit. And, you had mentioned that Breakwood, was looking like that final pick for 30K. And one thing that really stood out to me is that you were telling us that, or telling me that she, like you just mentioned, kept messaging, kept showing you the clips of what she was working on. And it's that drive, it's that ambition that really stood out, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love someone that's a go-getter. I love someone that's, trying to prove themselves, and she's proven that to me. And I'm really excited to, give her a spot in this team and really see where she goes and evolves as a player. I think she's really solid. I think she's got a couple heroes she really shines on. And if we can expand that hero pool, I definitely think season 2 CCL, maybe end of season 1, she'll be, forced to be reckoned with.
That's awesome. So now we're at the end of the draft for 30K. I'm going to ask everybody this question that we talked to today. When you go back and look at the players that you've picked up, did things go as planned, or did you find yourself having to adapt a bit more than you expected?
I mean, the nature of being the end of the draft, right? Like 7th pick means I didn't really have a plan going into it. Like I had certain teams and certain iterations that, I was curious about. But I'm really happy with the 6 players that we've drafted. I think 30K, all of 30K fans, I don't think we could be set up with a better team than what we currently have. Like, see y'all in playoffs is all I'm going to say.
Wow.
All right. Well, with that, we will let you go. Mike Udall from 30K Gaming. Good luck on the upcoming season, and thanks for the insight on the player picks throughout the show.
Yep, thank you so much. Hope you guys have a good one.
Thank you.
Breakwood is a player that literally Michael Udall in the org interview that I had almost a month or so ago was literally saying, I'm looking at Breakwood. Like, from the start of literally the scouting, before exhibitions even started, Breakwood was making highlight reels in people's DMs. Like they're one of the community members that I say this about a lot of community members, but they were definitely one of the ones that I was hoping would be picked up here. And this is a great place. Like I think in this 6th slot, these last picks, I think we're going to see a lot more of the community side. I don't think we're going to be seeing these ex-pros and stuff like that. I think this is where organizations really want to give the opportunity to someone who might be able to showcase their skills, grow, and make a name for themselves within the HeroesCCL.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. That development slot can come up big in future years. And so that brings us to Party Foul and Simplicity for their final pick of the draft. 5 down, 1 to go. What's it going to be?
It's going to be Noah.
Noah. All right. So what do people need to know about Noah?
So he's been pretty impressive watching him in these tournaments lately. The amateur tournaments have been going on since the beginning of the announcement of CCL. In houses, I've been very impressed with him. Exhibition match, very impressed with him as well. So I think he'll bring a lot to the table as the 6th pick. If we ever need to call upon him, definitely will be able to show up for us. So very happy to have him aboard.
Cool. Exciting development pick there in the 6th slot. So now going back, looking across the draft throughout the day, did things go pretty much as planned for Simplicity?
100%. This is exactly the team that Yuge and I were looking at, at the very beginning. Everyone's excited to play with each other again. We were able to hit the nail on the head with being able to have a team that synergizes well together. So I couldn't be happier.
Wow. That's good to hear. Cool. And on that note, that is it for Simplicity in the draft. Best of luck in the upcoming season. Looking forward to watching you play later. And thanks for giving us the insight they have during the show today.
Thank you.
I got to jump at this one again. I'm sorry. Just really quickly. Noah had like 100K Hanzo play in exhibition matches. That's all I want to say. And they had 40K hero damage over the opposing side assassin. So yeah, good pickup right there.
Wow. Grubby?
Nice. Yeah, just I forgot what I wanted to say.
I'm sorry, Grubby. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good.
You've got a few weeks to think about it. We can always talk about the beginning of the season too,
No, I remember. It's every time they say it went 100% as planned, I'm really pleased because I've been on teams where things weren't planned out as much, and I'll be like, all right, let's do a draft roll through. Let's test out how this lineup is gonna go when picking lineups and teams, and other people would be like, don't feel like it. How it goes. It's nice to see that they planned it. Okay, what are they going to take? What are they going to take? And what do we still have left? 100% planned. That's great to see. A lot of preparation, a lot of effort going into this draft.
Impressive. All right. So 2 teams down, a few more to go. And this time, it is time for Joy from Granite Gaming to let us know who the final pick is going to be.
Our final pick, I am so happy to announce to you guys that is going to be Skoog.
Okay. All right. And so what makes Skoog the final pick for Granite Gaming? What should we be excited about?
Skoog is one of the most flexible players that I have ever seen. He can get away with anything on almost any role, and that's something that he's been showing off online and offline last summer in Paris as well. And that is something that my organization also believes in, and I think it's always great to have somebody that is as flexible as he is with Heroes on the roster.
All right, exciting. So Granite, obviously, with an org with a history in Heroes of the Storm, doesn't need to be said. We all know. But looking back at this draft, it is kind of a first for Granite to go through a draft like this. Do you feel like everything kind of went as planned?
I think, well, I'm not gonna lie, there were some things that didn't go quite according to plan. Like our first pick kind of got snitched away right in front of our nose. But I think we adjusted really well, and I'm really happy with the roster that we have. The fantastic Swedish quadruple that we have gathered. So
the Swedish synergy in action. All right. Well, I can't wait to see you guys play during the regular season. Best of luck in the games to come, and thanks for the insight into the picks today.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to actually, I want to throw a question to you, Grubby, really quickly. True flexes. How do you feel about them in Heroes of the Storm? Because it's always kind of it's a wire you kind of have to tiptoe. I feel like you can't play everything super well. Do you feel? Do you know this player to maybe talk? Do they actually true flex in a sense, or is it they just have a big hero?
I had a small period of time during the Gold Club World Championship. I believe it was in 2016, where I was doing a little bit of hands-on coaching with Team Dignitas as they were at that league where I was casting. I was hanging out a lot with them, and Snitch from Dignitas stood out as a player that was really a full flex, and you could just put him on anything. Like, imagine someone that plays 90% to the level of a one trick. But am I still here? We have some lag.
Yep.
Lag.
You are still with us, Grubby. Oh, he is. All right. Well, anyway, Grubby's got some.
We might have lost her. Yeah, he might.
I can't hear you guys anymore, but if you can still hear me, then I should probably just keep talking. But yeah, anyway, a flex that can play everything to 90% level is super valuable because they can just mold themselves around the draft.
It's very true.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next pick of the draft. There we go. And it's going to be Turk joining us again from Crowd Control. Turk, the final choice of the draft for your organization. What's it going to be?
Man, I wish I could draft about 38 people here, but our draft pick is going to be Heavy.
Heavy. All right. Well, big reaction from Bahamut, though. But why did everybody else have a big reaction out there?
Heavy is one of the North American in the trenches player, has been for years. He's a healer main. He's awesome. He's one of the boys. He'll be a fine addition of just a sprinkle of North America into this very EU team that we drafted.
Right. Exciting stuff. So looking at the draft throughout the day, did things go as planned? Did you have to make some pivots?
Honestly, I didn't think I'd get Lobber. So yeah, hard pivot on the entire thing. We threw out 18 plans and worked on a new one. But here we are. I'm very happy with my squad. I love my team. And we'll win the whole thing. So
wow. Calling it right there. Gonna win the whole thing. Exciting. Yeah. Well, hey, best of luck in the upcoming season. Thanks for joining us and letting us a little bit more about your mentality going through the draft. Looking forward to seeing the games from Crowd Control going forward.
Thanks, guys.
So there you have it.
Heavy's just one of those North American names that I have seen everywhere, and I'm glad they got picked up. I really am glad Heavy gets this shot here. Just it's same kind of thing I said about Cascon, a player that's massively undervalued in a lot of situations, and they're gonna really shine here for Crowd Control.
Exciting.
Am I fully back? Am I fully back? I am, right? Like, I don't know what just happened. I had to disconnect.
I don't know. You're around. We can hear you.
Okay,
So
cool.
you can
I
see
just
me.
wanted to mention I was Skog's first Twitter follower when he just got picked up by Granite Gaming.
Wow. All right.
One following. And also his profile says pro HOTS player with apostrophes. So I guess he can remove the apostrophes now.
Yeah, it's real. All right. Well, we're going to move right along. We've got another couple picks to go. We're down to the last 3 right now, and it's going to be Goon from WildHearth Esports, the final pick of the draft for your organization. Are you ready?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready. So
All
for
right.
our last pick here, round 6. This one was really tough, super tough. There's a lot of great players out there, a lot of good potential, a lot of players that would fit into our team vision. But we're gonna follow our heart here a little bit and in our notes, and we're gonna go with Weary Day. Weary Day is a 6 pick support player.
All right. So picking up the support player for the final pick, what specifically does Weary Day bring to the team?
A lot of potential, a lot of skill, and he's got a great personality, and I'm very, very excited to be able to work with him and see what kind of player in person he develops into.
All right. So I've been asking everybody this as we've gone through the final picks. So when you look at WildHearth Esports and the players you've been able to bring together for this season, do you feel like the draft went as planned, or did you have to make some changes along the way?
The draft pretty much went as planned. We had backups to the backups, and we had to fall into one backup just because I'm just gonna throw it out there. Rip Dansky, he was not playing anymore. So that one was the one that kind of tossed everything up for a little bit. It was good. It's good. I'm happy. This is exactly what we want, and we're really excited for this next season coming in.
All right, exciting stuff. Well, best of luck in the upcoming season, and thanks for stopping by and letting us know a little bit more about your draft picks. WildHearth Esports. What do you think, Grubby? Looking at this roster, you excited for the season?
Yeah, very excited. I mean, it's great when the 6th player is there also to cover for in a very important role. I think that's smart. I think that's a smart pick by Goon, going for a healer. Anyone that doesn't make it for a bit, I think the healer is kind of a really important role. Not to suddenly be without. So a smart pick.
Cool stuff. Well, 2 picks remain in the entire draft. The next one is going to go over to Sidestep Kings. So for the last time today, we have Fan joining us, of course. So Fan, who do you have for the final pick for Sidestep Kings?
So I'm thinking that based on the last pick, adjusting over in WildHearth is going to be doing some crazy double support shenanigans again. And I was on the receiving end of that for many years in HCC, and I know just how deadly and annoying it can be. So we're going to have to pick up a support for our 6th slot in order to prepare for that.
Wow.
So it was a really close call. There are a couple of really, really good supports still left. I wish I could pick them all. But I'm going to have to go with Hyde for my sub/last pick.
Hyde, okay. And if I recall correctly, another player from the KR region, is that right?
That's correct.
All right. So someone who can synergize a bit with Kyoto. And what else are you excited about as far as what Hyde is going to bring to this roster?
I mean, the guy is, he's much like Kyoto and a lot of the others on the roster. He's a tournament winner. He's been competing for many, many years. I think he's like rank 1 in Korea Grandmaster Storm League for many seasons in a row. So he's just a very valuable asset to have on a team for sure.
All right. So now, looking back at the draft throughout the day, do you feel like things went the way you expected them to for Sidestep Kings, or did you have to make some changes?
I think before coming into the draft, it was very rocky because, as you guys may have heard, Mine and Dansky both dropped out, both the players I was looking at quite closely. So I had to change a lot of my plans going into the draft. But once we got in, it went very smoothly, got the core of the team that I wanted. And I didn't expect to get someone like Ultralisk or even Filth. These are extremely good players on the 4th and 5th pick slot. So I'm very happy with how this went.
Pretty exciting, and I'm excited. I'm sure the rest of us are too, to see Sidestep Kings compete in CCL coming up soon. Best of luck in the season, and thanks for giving us some insight into your picks.
Thank you.
Hyde actually had one of the most interesting calls during the exhibition weekends. It was a Dragonshire map where it was really, really close back and forth, and we were actually in the comms, and I think it was the only time we heard Hyde talk. It was just go core, because they ran through bottom lane and took the game with a literal 66 HP Garrosh. Like, Garrosh had one auto that ended the game, but it's calls like that and risks and being able to assess a game, and I think that's what Hyde really brings to this, outside of everyone else who's so very synergistic. But it's just a great one, and I think Fan really got a great draft overall here.
It's also so cool to see someone so successful at Storm League that can get rank 1 in a difficult region like Korea. It means you can handle chaos in all its form. You've gone past all the griefers, everything that you could possibly get. You got past that and you got rank 1. That's amazing. So that means you can work with the ragtag band of adventurers.
All right. Well, we have one more pick in the draft. Total. Not just the last pick for Chili Mountain. We've got Sid Kitten with us from Chili Mountain to make that final choice, but the last pick in the draft, who is it going to be?
It's Mysticles.
Mysticles. Okay, and why is Mysticles, in your opinion, the final player to pick up here in the draft?
So Mysticles has a versatile hero pool, grinds a lot, very relaxed personality. Overall, someone who would vibe very well with our team.
All right, cool. So, putting together quite a strong roster looking across the board here. As the day went on, did things go the way you intended them to with the draft, or did you have to pivot a bit here and there?
So it actually went pretty well and according to plan. We had our first 5 picks scrimmed together already in private in-houses. So we
wow.
were able to actually get the picks we wanted. We're very happy with this outcome.
All right, exciting, cool. Are you feeling pretty comfortable with letting us know who the top 5 are, or do you want to kind of like keep that to yourself a bit?
We'll go ahead and let you guys see how this all plans out.
All right. Well, you're teasing us there for a second. We'll go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll tell you after all. All right. I understand. All right. Well, good luck in the upcoming season. Sid Kitten from Chili Mountain Gaming, and looking forward to seeing those games. Thanks for coming by and letting us know a little bit about the thought process that went into it.
Thanks, guys.
So, all I got to say is solid 6th pick for Chili Mountain. Mysticles, it's a great flex pickup. I think this is... I can say this for every single org. Everyone's a winner here. I know that not every, obviously there's so many players that didn't unfortunately get picked, but these teams all are so winning to me. I really like this.
Well, as we look at the draft board overall to review who is picked today in the HeroesCCL draft, Grubby, let us know a little bit about what your kind of final thoughts are on this.
Well, I think people are starting to make thoughts now on who has the strongest draft. I'm looking at Sidestep Kings with, I think, the only Koreans on the team. My long history in RTS has given me a very healthy appreciation for Korean gaming skill. I know these players personally. I've seen them in many of the tournaments, so I think that's a strong team. Some players I knew, some players I didn't know yet. I'm very eager to make all of their acquaintance through their power on the battlefield in the upcoming months, Doa.
Me too. So, Bahamut, what do you think? Final thoughts, the order, the players who were drafted, maybe the players that weren't drafted. What do you think?
There's definitely, and I peeked over at chat. There's a lot of names that didn't get drafted, and there's a lot of names that, like, it's so hard. Just the list was so massive. We're talking about 200 plus free agents.
Yeah.
And it's only 6 per org, and there's 8 orgs, so you can do the caster math on that one. As overall, everyone wins here, but there's a couple that I was kind of expecting. We didn't get to see them. We didn't. I'll say it because the chat's been saying it all day. Nurok. We didn't see any sort of Glogan pickup. Allure was someone else who was on my list, but I will say that there's a lot of people who were on my list who were from the community and are getting their spot to shine. So I am happy for the ones that did get to be picked up, and for the ones that didn't, I hope they don't see this as a negative thing. I hope that they're inspired by this and it continues to push them further forward in their Heroes of the Storm career and skill set.
Well, I think it's one of those things too that like we all hope to see, Heroes Esports continue to grow and give more opportunities to all those kinds of players. And so I expect that. I'm not too concerned. But we've got a bit of an announcement for everybody here. I know, Bahamut, I know you like to, say things in advance, to leak things, but I kind of got out ahead of that already a little bit. But you know what? I'll let you take it. Go for it.
So coming up this upcoming weekend, we are going to be having our Icebreaker tournament. That is going to be a showcase in where we can, literally showcase all of these new teams. So there's not going to be a long delay until our regulation season kicks off. No. Next weekend, we are going to be kicking off the HeroesCCL with our Icebreaker tournament. That'll be on Saturday, and that'll start at 1 o'clock PDT, 4 o'clock EDT, 10 p.m. CEST. And those will be 3 best of 3s on Saturday. So you'll see Oxygen Esports going up against Granite Gaming, 30K versus Simplicity, Chili Mountain versus Sidestep Kings, and Wildheart Esports versus Crowd Control. That'll be our first day. Day number 2, Sunday, we'll start at the exact same time, and it'll be 2 best of 3s, our semifinals, and then our grand finals, which will be a best of 5. Now, for anyone wondering at home, what does this mean? What do they win? Bragging rights. This is literally a tournament to break the ice, to allow players to get to know each other, to try out some Cho'Gall Viking compositions, to take us to Towers of Doom and try and run some crazy Abathur solo heal. This is the weekend where you are not punished for losing games, and you are encouraged to try and make some weird plays happen. I am super, super excited for the upcoming Icebreaker tournament next weekend.
Same.
Yeah, and I think even though there's no prize money on it, if you have this well-oiled machine, this team that has played together so much, where you've built up this comfort level and this playing level, that you go into a tournament like this, you're like, oh, no prize money? Let's sandbag. Let's not show what we already know we can. However, that it's not, but that's not the case right now. All of these teams have their best interest at heart. They have to have confidence in themselves to use this as a training ground, to use this as a confidence building ground. It matters. Every player needs to be imbued with a sense of team here. So 1 week from now, they have practice now this week. 1 week from now, they're going to play in the tournament. I think they're going to take it fairly seriously. Yeah, they're going to maybe be a little bit relaxed because it doesn't have the big consequences yet, where it matters for their points and their ranking and their placement. But I think we're going to see some fireworks.
Yeah, I'm so psyched. Like when I got a look at the schedule going forward for CCL and I saw that they were doing this tournament, it's so well designed. Like as someone who's been around a lot of tournaments over the years and a lot of different games, like the setup for CCL is just really, really incredible, where you've got this draft, then you've got this Icebreaker tournament, which is so important because it gives, like Grubby said, the chance to sort of like get back into that mindset of playing tournament games to begin with, but also sort of develop some synergies with your teammates, develop some rivalries with other organizations. And then there's a bit of a break there. We've got about 2 weeks until the regular season begins. So time to take those VODs, study them to death, and then get ready for the regular season. I love it. I think it's just so well thought out, and I'm really psyched to cast those games. That's gonna be our first weekend, Grubby.
Yep, it will be, and I'm psyched about it too. We're gonna be running that show together, Bahamut, and we're just gonna have a lot of good games coming up. I'm looking forward to it. So much skill level.
Should be a ton of fun. We're about to end this one out, but final thoughts. I'm going to send it over to you, Bahamut. It's been a crazy day. Final thoughts on the draft.
It's been an absolutely insane day. There's a lot of winners. I really don't know if there's realistically a loser in this draft. I think everyone got something, if not almost everything they wanted. So all I got to say is I'm ready for next weekend, and I'm ready for whatever content we see coming out from this week, whether it be scrims or I just don't know. This week is going to be exciting, and next weekend even more so.
A lot of theory crafting about, who's going to be the strongest team coming to the Icebreaker tournament. Grubby, what are your final thoughts here on the draft today?
Nothing I haven't already said. I'm just looking forward to all the Heroes of the Storm content coming up with the Icebreaker tournament to start things off with, to give everyone their grounding starting position, know where everyone is ranked at, and then to either ride that positive morale all the way into the league, or to go back to the drawing board and get some practice in if the first match didn't go so well yet.
Right. It's going to be valuable either way. Well, thank you guys so much for watching at home. This has been the HeroesCCL Draft Show presented by Roll20. And don't forget, next weekend, the Icebreaker tournament. Keep an eye on the HeroesHearth social media. You can see the Twitter right down the corner to get all the dates and times, get all the information, get all the extra little stuff that's coming out, and get hyped about a season, a new league of Heart of the Swarm. I did it again. I'm a StarCraft caster. I'm sorry. Of Heroes of the Storm. I knew it was going to happen this season.
It's good. Heroes has everything included.
I was hoping
You're
it wasn't
always
going to
safe.
happen right there, but we're just going to call it HOTS from now on. You can see we're done. You're done too. We'll see you next week for the Icebreaker tournament on CCL, brought to you by Roll20. Until then, game on. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next weekend.